let's get to it. I put on my stream what has changed going from 10.1.7 to 10.2, and I guess we just talk about each tank a little bit, mainly like tier sets, I guess, and if anything had a rework. And let's see, which one do we want to start with? We can start with Guardian Druid, because that's probably the biggest changer, I think. Do you want us to talk about Guardian Druid, Dorki? You're like the main Guardian Druid bear enjoyer.
Sure. So let's see. What did they change? So the big changes were the tier set. Their tier set was pretty big. It had a ton of rage generation. It gave a good bit of extra damage, especially to the main abilities that were giving you UFR, raise, and brash. Overall, I mean, it's losing a lot going from the old tier set to the new one. And they did also nerf Blood Frenzy. Well, they compensated for it a little bit. It's actually better now on 5 targets, but it's significantly worse on very large polls.
How
There were
much
also a
rage
bunch of
generation did you
bugs.
lose with that, you think, overall?
For what? Blood Frenzy?
Yeah. That is the talent when Thrash deals damage, right? That they capped?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd probably have to look at logs, because, like, so I remember looking at, like, a large poll going from the old one, 5, to, say, like, say if you're doing a very large poll.
Mm-hmm.
In a large poll, you were losing a ton. I remember looking at it, it was, like, something like 2,000-3,000 rage generated from Blood Frenzy in, like, first poll of Nefarian's Lair, for example.
That is
And-
crazy, because I remember you could just spam
Yeah, and
Iron Fur, and like you couldn't spam Iron Fur
Yep.
fast enough to like lose rage.
Yeah, it was so awkward playing some Guardian in PTR. Like, I don't know if you've messed around with it a lot.
I actually,
Andy,
when I
but-
heard his shit, I'm like,
or you-
finally, I don't have to play this.
yeah, like if you just did like a normal 5-pack pull, it felt hard to like keep Iron Fur up while getting raises out. It felt like I could only really press raise with my Tooth and Claw procs.
But that's kind of how I think they wanted the gameplay to be, or I don't think they ever wanted to spam race. I don't know.
Probably,
And
yeah.
Iron
Like
Fur
they
was a
probably
bit
didn't
broken.
want you to just have both. Yeah.
Okay. Anyways, so yeah, they were a
Um,
king in 10.1. Yeah, you want to say it?
No, I just want to say that there was a like a really annoying bug right now with Frenzy as well on PTR.
Yeah.
Where
Well, that got fixed just last night, I believe.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
Okay, never mind then. Never mind. Okay, because if that was going live, it was going to be even worse for them.
So how was the new tier set in 10.2? What do you think about it? Because I actually haven't played, like I said, Guardian. I've been playing the other tanks mainly. What do you think about the new tier set? Do you like it? Is it boring? Is it good? Is it strong? Bad?
I mean, I think it's interesting. So it was really bad when they first implemented it, but it's been buffed pretty big. You can actually
wait.
get a sizable.
I have to cut
Oh.
in. It's actually
Okay.
fake. The bug fixes. It's not fixed.
Oh, okay. So it's not real. Okay.
Yeah, it's
Rip.
not real. So it's
Not fully baked.
Blood Prince is still bugged or what?
yeah. Apparently, you're losing near 60% rage gen compared to last season right now.
Oof.
It's
Holy
like it's like
fuck.
actual GG. Like it's actual.
it's very
If you're a Guardian
noticeable.
Druid player, you should
No
quit.
way, 60%?
You
Great
Dude,
goddamn.
that is
Well, no,
holy
you
fuck.
should play something else. You should play something else. Yeah, like reroll.
It's
Yeah.
bad.
No, not quit the game. I didn't mean that. I meant like.
It's very
Uh-huh.
noticeable.
If you're a
yeah,
Guardian, you
it's
just fucking
really bad.
get the fuck off the game.
No,
It's-
no, play something else, dude. I don't know.
I mean, if they fix
Yeah.
it though, like it's not gonna be that bad, or like if the bug gets, hopefully sure, like when has the game ever been bugged before, by the time it comes out? So I'm pretty sure Guardian is gonna be completely fine by when we get the plus, or?
I don't know. I mean, well, Dorki's about to go into it, right? Like the new tier set and stuff. So I'll let him talk.
Sure.
yeah.
Let's get
So
it.
the tier set was really bad when they first made it, but it's not as bad now. You can actually build up a pretty sizable amount, and before it was consuming your UFR first, or like whatever absorb you were most recently had. So it wasn't really like eating into that shield, and you couldn't really reflect that damage back onto the mobs.
But that's how it
But
works
the
the
new
game in
tier set is
general,
actually-
no? Like they always
Yeah,
consumes
right.
the smallest
Well, no. So they
absorb.
changed it. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's like
It
how the
actually
game
got
works in
changed for this
general.
instance.
The most recent absorb always goes first. It's the same reason why, like, for example, Umbilicus Eternus is a blood decay. That always goes before your.
Are you sure
blood
about
Your
this?
blood shield.
Blood shield. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's the
Yeah.
smallest absorb gets consumed first. Are you sure it's the most recent one?
No,
And
it's
that
the
gets-
most recent. It's the most
Okay.
recent absorb.
Okay. So yeah, so I guess
Yeah.
if you
Oh, well.
UFR'd after
Most
you
cases.
you proc your tier, then yeah, it was right. But now it always consumes this one first.
Yeah, so you're actually getting the damage out of it, which is quite nice. And the longer duration on the Rage of Sleeper is actually also very nice. But the previous tier set was just too good, and I think this class is losing a significant amount going from the previous tier set to this one. But to be fair, I didn't really get to like feel out Guardian just because of like all the bugs it had. Like innate resolve also wasn't working, so my frenzied regions weren't doing anything. So it's probably better than my initial impressions of it on PTR, but I don't know if it'll really be that much better, especially when these other tanks have gone so much better.
Yeah, I mean something else that hurts Guardian, I guess, is the fact that it's a lot of, or not a lot, but a lot more, I guess, bleeds and magic hits in this season compared to like
Yeah,
the one we have right now, where it's like 99% just like melee damage. I don't know.
yeah, it's actually quite noticeable. Some of these dungeons, I believe, the overall damage is like up to anywhere between like 50 and 70% magic damage.
Yeah.
Like I think one of the Dawn of Infinite ones was a big one, where that entire section is literally all magic damage. It's kind of
Yeah, that's
disgusting.
the upper one. The
Yeah,
Murazon's Rise.
yeah.
It's like I cannot see this dungeon being like played in high keys though. I don't know, like it's I feel like the first part of the Dawn, but we're not gonna get into it too much, I guess, is like okay, but like the latest one, I've done it a few times, but it's just like nothing going on. It's just like 2 trash mobs and then like a boss and then like I don't know. Anyways, we can talk about that later.
Oh, I would like to clarify something
Mhm.
about the absorbs going first. Apparently, it's what's called the latest applied absorb. So, for example, if you have Embellishments Saturnus up and then you Death Strike during Embellishments Saturnus, like Blood Shield will go first. Then, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but like
Yeah,
if you
yeah, whatever gets applied
refresh, how
first,
does it work then? Let's say you
or
blood
most recent.
strike or you death strike, and then you get umbilicus, and then you refresh your blood shield. Then that's not get it doesn't get applied but refreshed. I don't know how it works in that case, but let's say for example, same with Guardian Druid, right? If you had UFR up, you get your absorb from the
Well,
tier set,
it
and
would
then you
Yeah, the Guardian Druid tier set that works differently though, because
Okay.
they've like changed how it works. So that's like separate,
Yeah.
kind of like the rule. That makes sense.
Yeah. Okay,
like
let's
slightly
jump. Let's see. I guess we can do warrior.
Yeah, sure.
This tier set
Yeah.
was also changed a bit, if I remember correctly. Or? Like it was made, because I remember playing this, and then like it consumed. I guess we can talk about the previous one first. Where did you like the previous one? Them on arms.
I somewhat liked it. Yeah, I thought the previous one was kind of nice.
For me, it felt weird.
Uh,
I don't know. It just felt weird to spam
felt
shield
weird to,
spam on
like-
AOE. It didn't feel like natural, you know.
But it also felt weird to like basically press last stand most of CD, whereas before you kind of used it as like a pseudo defensive, right? It was
Yeah.
never like a really good defensive, but it was like something extra to press.
So what about
yeah,
the
I
new tier?
mean-
Do you like the new tier?
Yeah, I think the new tier is broken as fuck. Just in terms of like the uptime of like the amount of like DR that you can have all the time, I think it's like insane.
Yeah. I mean, the
like,
issue in the past, right, was that it consumed like your Dragon's Roar on single target. So like actually equipping Forset was like a single target DPS loss. I remember this
Yeah,
being like
did they fix that? So
Yeah.
like before, basically there was a bug where if you Dragon's Roared and then you had a proc and you shield slammed, it wouldn't give you the correct damage from that Dragon's Roar. But they fixed that now, so that it works. So basically, like the way it works is and also there's like another thing as well where the tier set basically procs differently based off the type of rage you spend, which is really good for like high keys in a way, because the thing is obviously the thing you're going to spam the most is obviously ignore pain, and it actually procs more often off ignore paining than if you spend rage, let's say on like revenge or execute or something like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
But
it's
isn't
actually
that okay,
like
I
in
mean,
the
that's
current
interesting.
APL, it's like it's really worth to press ignore pain like on a pure single target rotation. Like you press it a lot, basically.
Okay. I think that's
'Cause you
really
proc-
good though.
Because you proc yeah, exactly. It's really
Yes.
sick.
Yeah.
So yeah, like it's really good. Like you basically hit like, especially in like kind of more target scenario where you're spending more rage, you basically like proc this like all the time. So like you just have the extra 14% DR like that has really high uptime, and then obviously if you Thunderous Roar, it becomes 16% DR. I think this tier set's like really broken. It just makes you like super solid defensively. And the damage isn't like insane, but it's like it's decent, I would say, like for single target. At
Yeah.
least.
I mean, my concern with warrior in like playing warrior in M plus with this new tier, for example, is that you really is reducing the cooldown of your Thunderous Roar. You'd really want to play the CDR on Thunderous Roar talent to like make more use
Right.
of this, because if you reduce 3 seconds from a minute cooldown compared to a minute and a half, it's a
But you
really
lose
big
shockwave.
damage increase. But yeah, but then you
Yeah,
lose
yeah.
shockwave, and then like
Yeah.
you don't want to lose shockwave,
Right.
So that's like my only concern with this tier, that it feels really bad not playing the CDR on Thunderous Roar, but it also feels really bad not playing Shockwaves.
Yeah, I mean, you're not. I mean, like in a proper M+ group, you're not really gonna play without Shockwave, right? It's like just
Yeah,
such a
exactly.
good spell.
Yeah.
I mean, that does suck for sure, I guess, to an extent. But yeah, I do think the tier set itself is probably one of the stronger tier sets you've had as Warrior, I think, in a while.
I mean, I think it's
Uh,
insane. I don't know the exact uptime of it, but like the amount of DR just adds.
I think most keys that I played on PTR, when I was really gaming with it, I had around like 85 and uptime.
Yeah, somebody's saying 75, but I
so-
guess like 75 plus depending on
Yeah.
pools and dungeon and stuff. I mean, it's crazy.
And in terms of talents right now, kind of the play now actually is to not run bolster and not run heavy repercussions either. You want to play with like slightly over 35% haste unbuffed. And then that plus having good into the fray value will mean that you have like very close to 100% shield block uptime. You won't have exactly 100%. It's like, I think it's like 95% or something like that. That's what you have. But it's just like the most worth in terms of like the extra talents you can kind of like gain.
So what would
basically.
you get instead then, instead of a bolster and heavy
Uh,
repercussions? Because like it's not really, it's
Wait, let
mainly
me
like
log.
damage. It's not
Yeah,
Into
I
the
think
fray,
I
of
think it's
course,
like
yeah.
blood surge.
I should probably have a worry right
like
now, but I'm not.
yeah. Wait, let me have a look.
But it's mainly like rend and deep wounds damage and stuff, right? You would play, I guess.
Yeah. So like like as long as like you're playing spell block, like I mean you basically either play spell block or tough as nails, and then yeah, it's just to be able to get blood surge while also playing spell block, because that was actually kind of tricky before. Yeah, you never really want to play show of force, or even last season you never really wanted to play it, but you definitely don't want to play it now. Like you always want to play Thunderlord. But yeah, it's just
The concern for me when I played my warriors, remember, it was like in MDI, for example, you wanted to shout. It's just like you have so many good talents, you know.
Yeah,
It's like one of these like compared.
getting disrupting shard is like a little bit annoying. I mean, it still can be worth to play.
Yeah,
or
maybe if you
get
really need an AoE. Then
AoE disrupt.
I can see like maybe an
Yeah,
Everbloom
like
or something. With
Chronotides,
Yeah,
the big
yeah.
pack, the what you call it, the caster pack.
Yeah, exactly.
Even
Yeah.
Everbloom with like the
Yeah, like all the
whole
first
cast
boss
area, that place is messed up.
Yeah.
No, I think you might have to like cook a build where you play that just because of the. I mean, you'll probably end up losing something like Blood Surge, I guess, to get it. But just a little bit smoke. But
I mean, would
I
it
mean,
really
it is what
remove
it
Blood
is. if you
Surge though?
wanna-
Like I tried playing
I'm
without
not
Blood
sure.
Surge and it felt so like I had no.
It's really
reach, I
bad.
felt
Yeah,
like.
Blood Surge
It
is
was-
really,
Especially
really
in
good.
large pools, yeah.
Yeah, and like in the class in general.
I mean, maybe you would just. I don't know. That's probably something I'd have to ask Gnome. He'd like know better. But
Yeah, I
That's
mean
probably
we'll see.
something
We'll
you
see
can-
further into the season what people actually end up playing.
well, I think you
but,
probably will have to end up playing that just because you want to kind of compete with. I mean, we'll talk about it later, but you kind of want to compete with two tanks that do offer a lot in terms of
Have
interrupts.
control,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, and you kind of need to have something as a warrior, I think.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's go. Paladin. 10.1.7 to 10.2. I feel like the 10.1.7 tier set was like really boring for Paladin and not good either. It was like one of the worst tier sets, I think. I don't know. Like sure it did like a bit of damage, but like I don't know. Did you guys like this tier set? I feel like it was so.
What
so
the
easy to play
Heartfire
with.
one?
Yeah,
it was dog
Heartfire.
shit. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was terrible. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, pardon my language. I can't say that, can I? It was not good.
Yeah. I'm really excited for
Yeah,
the
it
new
was
one
very
though.
not
Like
good.
people, like I talked about the
No.
new tier set, the 10.2 one, and people were like, "Oh, my Resident Sleeper Consecration tier set," but you know that's with Mastery anyway. You're always in your Consecration, you know. So I'm actually a really big
So-
fan of this one.
I initially didn't like it because of the fact that it doubles down on your weaknesses as a pro paladin in terms of the fact that it's based around consecration, and obviously like if you ever have to move, it was like a little bit finicky with the tier set.
That's always that's Protopala in general though. Like I don't know.
It is, yeah, but the
It
original
doubles down on
design,
it, that's
the
the big part.
original design was really bad. But then what they decided to do was like they were just like, fuck it, we're just gonna over buff it. So now the tier set is like insane in terms of like if you manage to play around it well, like it just gives you ridiculous amounts of damage, and the
Yeah.
DR is like very noticeable as well.
Yeah, I had this like one Everbloom run where I was doing up to like 12% of my damage. Like I feel like if you game around the Consecrate, if you like
Yeah.
track your proc and you're trying to like send your Sentinel and Divine Soul into
And
it,
Divine Soul into
if
it,
you get big
just do
procs,
crazy
yeah, you
damage.
just do so much damage. Yeah.
Yeah, it is really like in terms of the offensive amount, like capabilities of this tier set is pretty massive, I would say. I would say this is probably Paladin's best tier set, the whole expansion now, with how it is now. Like but that was only really after they kind of over buffed it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I completely agree. But the thing is, the concern though is that if you play it for damage, because what I like about this tier set is that it adds like another almost like cooldown, you know, for prot pala. Because I feel like
Yeah.
you kind of had downtime where like you just struggle as a prot pala after the sentinel nerf and stuff.
Yeah.
Or are you
so,
saying like sitting at 5 stacks for doing
no,
some
it
of
wouldn't
this?
like sit, but like let's say for example you have this proc ready, you could just send this with like Ardent Defender on pull and delay your Sentinel till your proc runs out, you know? So you wouldn't, you know, overuse like Sentinel for damage. Of course, you would want to send your Sentinel, Divine Toll, and this on pull, right? But if you play around it, it actually adds a lot of benefits to where previously you would just run out of stuff and have to like kite or risk dying, to where you can just add this in your rotation and delay. Let's say this one is coming up, right? And you delay Ardent until this gear set is over, you know? And then you actually keep your you like stronger and longer like high key pulls. You can like literally last like a minute if you just play around it a bit. And I would never delay the proc, but I would delay like my cooldowns around it.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say the only annoying thing is like in high keys where you're not really going to be able to hold your consecration ever.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like
so
you would
obviously-
hold your like Ardent Defender or Wall or Bubble Taunt, and you would
I
not hold the proc.
mean,
Assuming
yeah,
like you can leave it only the proc. In some
think
high keys you might, you know, want to have to double send, but it depends on the pull,
think-
right? What you're doing.
Yeah, I think that's very situational
Yeah.
based. But yeah, I mean that or like the only other thing I could see that's like kind of annoying is like really heavy movement based fights. Like for example, in the raid, I think a boss like Tindril is like quite challenging, I would say, in terms of like
also
wow.
Larodar now could be pretty bad.
yeah, as a prop paladin, I would say those bosses are kind of a little bit triggering.
Yeah. All right,
yeah.
we can talk more about that later. Going DK, I think Dorki, you can talk about this one because you've been playing a lot of DK, I think. You're a big DK, I think, fan. The damage part. Take this one.
Yeah, so DK, honestly, not a whole lot has changed about DK. It's really just the tier set. The tier set gives DK quite a bit more damage, especially your 2-minute burst. Like, it feels really nice using your A-bomb limb as an actual CD because it applies the tier set on all the mobs. So initially on PTR, it really wasn't proccing a whole lot, and it wasn't that good of a tier set. But with one of the recent changes where they made it proc based off of RP spent, it makes the proc chance significantly higher, and you basically have it up at all times. It's just a little bit clunky on larger pulls because,
you don't
like,
really
if
care
you're
about overwriting the on pull, like, right? You wouldn't like hold a proc, you would just send on send, no?
no, yeah, you just
Yeah,
send, you
you
just
just
send the proc.
send,
You never really hold it. It's just a little bit awkward on larger pulls because of how D&D Heartstrike is target capped. So, like, you know, say you're pulling 10 mobs, you're not gonna be applying it on all 10 mobs, and it's not smart either. It doesn't
Oh, I was
target
actually
the
gonna
mobs
ask
that
about this.
are.
It would be sick though if
Yeah.
it was smart and would apply it to a target with, you know, hard strike that you didn't have the debuff on.
Right, yeah.
But I guess, yeah, that's the struggle, I guess. On big pulls, you will only have it on. I mean, if you're lucky, you could have it on up to 10, I guess, if your hard strike hits the right targets.
Yeah, well, it's not like it hits the closest targets. That's how D&D smart. Well, not smart. Well, that's how it targets. So, like, unless you're like maneuvering your character and maneuvering the mobs to like try to tactically hit all the mobs, there's a good chance you're not gonna have the tier set on multiple mobs if you're doing a large pull, which is actually a pretty large problem. But I mean, to be fair, you do
But you
have
could also
like a
like
bomb
tab
limb
target,
usually in
right?
larger
Or, like
pulls.
at least make sure you
Yeah,
target the, like
technically, yeah.
the. It's annoying, but you could like make sure you have it on like the 2 important targets first with hard strike, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I feel on that. But what about is this actually almost 100% uptime even on single target? Because like, sure, if you play so you get more runic power on AoE with, you know, hard strike and stuff, I can see it. But even on single target, is it actually 100% uptime?
It's not
Like in
100%,
raid,
it's like
for
what,
example.
80 or so? I don't even know.
It's
80,
like
90?
well, I mean, it depends if you have like if you play Soul Reaper and you have like execute. then-
Yeah, of course. Then yeah.
then-
Do you
then
think you would
it's-
actually play that? That was a question I wanted to ask. Do you think Soul Reaper is now gonna be like a go-to raid talent instead of Abolim?
Yeah. No, you wouldn't
Or do you
play
play
it
both?
instead of Abum. You play it instead of
Empower Rune Weapon?
Power Room Weapon, yeah. But yeah, I mean, for single target damage, yeah, it is for sure worth playing.
Isn't Abolim like really bad on single target though? Like, wouldn't you rather play Empower Rune Weapon? I actually haven't, because I'm raiding my Paladin and I'm not a DK this time around, so I haven't looked at it too much.
Well, it's also about like it's also about the fact that it also gets applied from like the tier sets.
Yeah, when you
call
use Abolim.
Yeah, it's also just like the bone shield charges as well. I think.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
But I'm not
I
sure
mean,
if
we'll
that's
see.
like 100%.
Yeah.
At least that's
I
like
was
the last
never
time I looked at it.
Yeah, I was
Like,
never a fan
maybe
on
I need
Soul Reaper,
to
though.
double check because maybe Eternal Room Weapon seems higher. I don't know.
Yeah,
But
'cause
yeah,
I
last
remember
time I looked at it.
I played Soul Reaper on Broodkeeper, I think it was, and I, as a bloody kid, pressing Soul Reaper, it just feels bad. I swear, I could
It
never.
does feel really bad. Yeah, it's like a really weird kind of like global to press.
It doesn't give you anything. It gives you like what 10 runic power. I mean,
Yeah,
now
just-
it would give you the
yeah,
poke,
well,
right?
just
Yeah,
do
I
that
mean
instead.
it's just for the
It is very
damage,
weird.
right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just such a
Like
useless
at
ability.
35%. Yeah, it's a really weird button in general. I think it's like it does feel really gimmicky for DK. You compare it to like other things.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on to a Brewmaster. Has anyone of you played a lot of Brewmaster on PTR?
I know Eddie's been playing a lot of it.
I played a decent amount of it. Yeah.
Because I was told
Wow.
they do insane damage, but now the tiers got nerfed, right? And they were also like insanely like tanky, but I think did damage get nerfed? I don't know, but I know for a fact they got nerfed defensively. The tier.
Yeah. So the two set was basically it could crit before, and now that's like not the case. It can't, and they like nerfed.
Where
a
it's like the
few
healing
other,
portion.
Yeah, the healing portion.
Did it
So,
also
like,
work with your mastery before? Or no, your crit. No, not your crit.
Celestial Fortune.
Yeah. Does it work with that?
Yeah, I think it still does work.
Okay.
I think that's like not changed. But yeah, I mean, it was just kind of like over the two set was like over buffed a bit. And yeah, like previously you were kind of like unkillable. Couldn't really die because your two set just like kept on healing you up all the time. But I mean, right now I think they're in like a decent-ish spot. I mean, I'm pretty sure they still do the highest single target out of any tank in the raid or in raiding at least. I'd have to double check because like people are able to find more damage in the sims all the time. But yeah, I still think at least they're like they do really, really good damage still. Survivability wise, I think they're still pretty decent, at least from our own testing. I mean, I have heard like
Even
lots
in
of
a
people say
plus?
this. Yeah, I think they're good. I mean, I don't know. I mean, when I was last testing, I was able to do some pretty like hard pulls on them, and I didn't find them like that like much more easier or necessarily harder than some of the other like meta tanks. I certainly think they're good. I
Yeah.
wouldn't say that they're gonna be like the meta tank or anything for
But
high
I feel like
plus.
that's the issue with Brewmaster. Though. Brewmaster has never really been that strong
Yeah,
in a
it's just,
plus.
like,
It's been
solid
like
across the board.
decent. Yeah, it's not like bad.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
you just struggle, like you just run out of steam at some point. I feel like when you, especially like on fortified, you just walk through or like work through your cooldowns and your purifies, and then at some point you're like, holy fuck, I'm sitting at 2 million stagger and I'm out of purifies or cooldowns, you know. And then
so I don't really know what it is. I don't know if it's because of the fact that they have like low armor and like augmentation, like obviously gives you like percentage armor. Maybe that somehow benefits Brew more than other tanks, or maybe it's like a combination of like many things. But I don't know. Whenever I play with an augmentation and I'm doing like 30 keys on PTR or something, I don't really feel that at all. I do understand what you mean, where like you're
yeah.
doing a key normally and your Celestial Brew runs out and you don't have anything up, and you're just like, if I don't kite right now, I'm dead.
Yep.
But I don't know, if for some reason, lots of times when you play with Org as Brew, you can just like power through that moment.
But that's how it
And-
works with Aug though, because Augs gives you a percentile of their armor to the tank, right? So it gives you
Right,
3k,
right.
and then as a tank with a shield or a guardian druid, you already have so much armor. Meanwhile, Brewmaster I think has the lowest,
Yeah.
followed by DK.
It has a lot. Yeah, you
Yeah,
have
so it's
you have
way
lower
bigger
than
for these
most,
tanks.
DPS actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
That's
gives them
pretty-
massive effective HP.
yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, in my view, I feel like you're always going to play with an Org anyway, right? In every
I
in
mean,
every competent plus. I think.
I actually do think they will nerf Org because they said that they really don't want Org like
I
to be something you have to bring for this season. Because I swear, if you have to bring Org for this next season as well, people are gonna be so like fed up with having to bring an Org.
They
And
might
if
be
it's a-
mad, yeah.
Yeah, and if it's a case that you actually end up playing maybe without an Org, then that's gonna hurt Brewmaster the most out of all the tanks. And like a Guardian Druid is like 3k armor from a Org when I already have like 40k. Like I don't care. But as a Brewmaster, you're for sure gonna feel this quite a lot, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah, and another large part too is like the damage increase. Like getting all that extra agility means you're doing so much more damage, which also means you're leeching way more, particularly from your tier
Especially
set.
with the tier, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yep, like it's actually very noticeable when you're doing a large AoE pull with Brewmaster. You sustain like crazy. The amount your tier set heals for is like very big, and it's very noticeable. And also, just like more agility means more stagger, etc. So
Yep.
It
Yeah.
all adds up big time.
I feel like
Yeah,
Brewmaster is gonna be
competition.
really down bad if they nerf Org and you don't play Org. Because I feel like Org
Yeah.
is kind of like holding Brewmaster in like a decent position right now, you know, in
Yeah, it
M
really
plus at
is.
least. And if they don't play Org, I feel like it's really gonna hurt Brewmaster.
Yeah, I mean, from my own testing at least, I have like because I played basically every key, like every high key I did on every tank with Org, and I don't know, I generally thought Brewmaster was like pretty sick, to be honest with you. And yeah, I mean, you could play it in like the highest keys for sure. Like if you're like a good brew player, and I don't know, like you maybe fit it around some of the other like weaknesses brew has. But yeah, I mean, we'll see. There is something I wanted to add, by the way. Apparently, I was wrong. Apparently, you do play Eternal Room Weapon on single target. With
Yeah, that's what I thought as
Soul
well.
Reaper.
That you removed Abolimb and not the
Yeah,
Paladin
you,
weapon.
apparently
I was
you
surprised when you
remove
said.
Abolim.
Yeah.
I thought it was the other way around, but
No, yeah. I mean, because I know that was how it was in the past, and I was surprised when you said you keep Abolimb, but I was like, okay, maybe the tier set makes it worth
yeah,
to still play
apparently
Abolimb,
it's
but-
because the value of the set is like mostly wasted on Abolim on
Yep.
single target. But yeah,
All right.
I just want to clarify that.
Yeah. Vengeance. This is the tank I'm probably the most excited for. I think it's gonna be fucking sick. Not for rating too. I mean, I think it's gonna be decent in rating, but like M plus specifically. Dorki, I've also played a lot of Vengeance, right? Because I would like this is the tank I've been playing the most. I think on PTR myself. But I think you also played a lot of Vengeance, right?
Yeah, I'm actually playing right now on PTR too. Or not
Yeah.
PTR, just doing open world content. Yeah, Vengeance, this class received the biggest glow up. I mean, I knew it was gonna happen. Happens every single time a class gets reworked.
Yeah,
They
that's
just
worth adding as-
usually,
You
like,
called it, bro. You called it.
Adding as
Yeah,
well, though, like
yeah,
whenever
like-
something gets reworked, it becomes so broken. Like I
Yeah,
don't know.
whenever they say like
It's
something's
actually
gonna be
true at this
worked,
point.
they always try to make it good. Like they're never gonna make it bad because like that's just part of what happens when you rework something. And yeah, I mean they buffed the hell out of this class. It's actually ridiculous. Like everything's crazy. Feldev is such a short CD now. Fiery Brand spreads every second, which is a massive change, and
Yeah.
probably should have been a change this season, really, or well, I guess previous season.
I mean, it would have
And,
been so crazy if you had every second spread with the previous tier. Holy.
Yeah, it would have been so nice. Yeah, so there's that. I would say the craziest thing of all is the sigils. I think the utility on this class is kind of through the roof, and I would say like broken. I don't think
yeah, I
any
agree.
class has ever had utility that's been this good before.
Yeah.
The fact that you can like hard lock down multiple mobs for
Yeah.
like almost half of a minute, like that's kind of insane, especially for M plus.
No, I think
But
they like overbuffed Vengeance TH big time. It's also just like the amount of like raw DR they have. Like you're spending so much more souls than normal. You have like way more pain bringer value. Also, like every build is running Soul Crush now. So like you're playing Soul Crush on top of like spending so many more souls. So like you're healing more, you're doing more damage, and then on top of that, you also like have like just way more raw DR from pain bringer.
You're basically parrying permanently too.
And then
You're
top
like
on top of
perma
that, you have
DRW.
like you play Illuminate sigils, so like your flame sigil uptime is like ridiculous. Like you have the 20% extra parry chance on like mobs like almost permanently in AoE, I believe, right now. Since they
On
like
AoE, you have
did
a
that
perma for
recent
sure
buff.
if you play it.
Yeah,
play it
it's
well.
only single target where it's like
Yeah.
not permanent. But yeah, it's just fucking crazy. I mean, you're just a brick. Like
I feel
and then on
like
top
you
of
are
that, like,
jealous, bro. That Brewmaster is not that hot.
I'm
and
jealous.
Vengeance is just up there, and you're
Yeah.
like,
Yeah,
I want
Andy Poo three.
Brewmaster.
what do you
He's
mean,
like-
bro? I have to say I want Guild Clash as Vengeance. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
True. I respect, actually.
That is true.
No, I
That
mean-
is true.
I do actually like playing this version of Vengeance a lot. I feel like it's way more fun than the previous like iterations, like in terms of
Oh,
like the
100%.
playstyle.
Yeah.
But do you feel like,
you're not?
do you feel like Demon Hunter Vengeance is broken like defensively though? Because I didn't really like
Yes.
feel like it was.
Oh,
Yes,
absolutely.
I didn't feel like it was
absolutely, dude.
that broken,
It's very
man.
noticeable when you play
It's-
any other tank in Vengeance.
It's disgusting. Like both in terms of like I mean AOE, right? Like you have obviously the only tricky part is like on pull because that's where you have like no pain bringer. That's where like.
Well, but the thing is, like, meta's a 2-minute CD now, and Feldev
Yes,
is like
I
up
was
always,
gonna
so you
mention
just
that,
go into
like-
every pack. Yeah.
But
Exactly.
I
like
don't know if it's true that it's like broken because the thing is that I
No,
feel like
no,
it's
it's
a
broken.
combination. Yeah, but it's a combination of like you silencing all the mobs, so you barely take like any magic damage on like any pool, and you only have like para and you only take physical damage. I feel like if they nerf sigils, you started taking like cast to your face. I think you would notice.
Well,
the
so
damage you
that's
take
another
a
thing
lot
too.
more.
They now have Fell Flame Fortification, which is 12% reduced damage on Imora. And if you want, you can spec into
Yeah.
Demon Muzzle, and you permanently
Yes.
have 8% reduced magic
Yeah, I
damage.
know.
So you're like taking so much reduced magic damage baseline compared to any other tank.
Yeah.
I just like the most broken part is the fact that they have double sigils with CDR like everywhere.
Yeah, I mean the utility is for sure like the strongest thing because like there's so many pools where it's gonna be like, I mean you know how it is in high keys, right? Like people just get better over the season and they do crazier and crazier things. And I mean, what tank is gonna like prop that up more than Vengeance, right?
Yeah, but think about
Um,
it this season though. Like if you had a like you would not need in any key this season a Vengeance AoE silence. It's also like very seasoned and what dungeons you're running. Like, 'cause
yeah,
you could
it
get
is
away with
very.
not playing Vengeance in every single dungeon now. Like Guardian Druid would work in every single season 2 dungeon, right? But
The only
season
place I
3,
would disagree is like Horse of Infusion, yeah. Like I think if Vengeance was a thing, like maybe you would pull even bigger, like
Ah.
at the start, for example, because you could like if you could like live the what do you call it, the orb beam fixate thing.
yeah, I mean maybe,
place.
yeah, but yeah, I just feel like season 3 just has so many more like casters in general, like spam casting, like all over the place.
No, it does.
It is
does.
pretty messed up, yeah.
Yeah.
But I do think Vengeance is really strong defensively though. Like I mean on AoE, like you're massive because I mean sure you don't have like insane soul crush value on AoE, but you still have like a lot. You obviously have like the fiery brand that spreads like really fast now. So like when you pop that out in a pool, you're getting the DR on every mob very quickly. Then obviously as Dorki said, you have the 12% from Immora. You have the flame sigil, which is giving you, ridiculous amount of souls with the tier set. Plus on top of that, like you're getting what you call it, parry chance. Then on top of that, you also have like just a fuck ton more like fury gen in general. So like you never run into this issue where like when you have
Fury
tons
has
of like
never really been a resource for Vengeance, so I feel like I even
no,
played
but
like
last
no.
season there was a few times where like you would get cucked by like that's actually one of the things where I actually really like playing with what you call it, Fellblade now, where there's like a few times where you have like you're bombing a lot and then you have like 4 souls and you kind of like just run out of fury or something like that, and it just like helps you get over like the finish line instead of like pressing another fracture and then wasting a soul or 2.
Yeah. Myself, I didn't play Fellblade in a single dungeon because I feel like I was overcapping Fury even on single target. I never felt like,
Right.
even last season, I didn't even play. Was it talent whenever
Well,
you
this season's a little bit
with
different because this
immolation aura?
season you're generating way more souls.
Yeah, but
so,
that's
like this
yeah.
season
Yeah.
you're spirit bombing way
You're
more.
generating
Yeah.
like crazy amounts of souls now, and I don't know, it's just like so many things on top of each other, and then even on like for single target, right? Like the difference between, let's say, playing Vengeance Demon Hunter with all of that, and he's just spamming Soul Cleave on single target to like build up Soul Crush. Like the difference in DR from that tank versus like others, it's like not even fair. Like
Yeah,
for
but that was always
most.
the case though. That like
That was always the case, yeah, but it's the fact that you can now play Soul Crush and you don't get like you don't get absolutely destroyed for playing it, like it
yeah,
kind of
I
like,
guess yeah, fair point. But it's still the fact that like you still have to give up on the G death and the CDR and the spikes, right? The issue now, or
yeah.
the difference now, I guess, is that
I don't think it matters though, because you have the cheat death trinket, and then you have like, and the cheat death trinket is like fucking broken. And then on top of that, like you have so many other things to like kind of like fill in the gaps of when you don't have demon spikes. I don't know. I think the tank just got overbuffed. Yeah, it got the guardian treatment. It's just how it is.
It really does feel that way, yeah. And it's such a, like even just playing it in some of these live keys, I've just been like messing around a little bit on doing live. And man, it feels so good. Like I go into Brackenhide with this Demon Hunter, and I'm just thinking, if we had this Demon Hunter this season, things would be so different. Like just being
Yeah.
able to go in there and like hard lockdown packs.
But like
being
so
able
here's
to
the thing as well,
pull
right? Like
massive and be unkillable. Yeah.
Guardian Druid was like the meta this season, right? And it's always gonna be a meta. Like let's say
Yeah.
now Vengeance is like really strong. Let's say they nerf it a little bit maybe. If you guys think it's too strong, for example, I am really excited to play Vengeance because I feel like it plays extremely well in M+, and I would like be really happy to play Vengeance, for example. And it will always be a meta. If they nerf Vengeance, I guess it will be maybe Postpala, Blood Decay, whatever. But like,
Right.
are you feeling, for example, would you feel happy to play Vengeance this season as a meta tank? What do you
Yeah,
feel about
absolutely.
100%.
Yeah, 100%. Like the playstyle is really good.
Mhm.
Like
I feel like this
Yeah,
tier
I
is
mean,
insane for just playing the class. It's so much fun to play. I don't know. Like, and plus, ooh.
See, the thing is, every tank is a control freak, and Vengeance allows you to become a control freak. You can just do everything by yourself. You can do all the CCs. You can just live by yourself. You don't need to be like reliant on your stupid healer. Like
yeah,
you don't have to
yeah,
be calling all the stops and stuff. I mean, like there's still gonna be stops involved, obviously, at the highest level. But if you're just like pugging, you'll have such a good time being able to just do everything by yourself, keeping mobs permanently silenced, and having all these different AOE stops.
What you're saying is like fuck healers.
Well, fuck your whole team.
Oh, okay. Just like fuck everyone. I'm by myself.
Yeah, fuck them. I mean, I'm
Okay.
doing this all by myself.
Okay.
I mean, I'm
fair
sure all
enough.
the
I
tanks
don't
are that
mind.
way.
Okay, let's move on. We're probably gonna jump back into this a bit later. I like if you guys wanna start, go ahead, because I really need to go and take a leak fast. But we're gonna jump to what's looking good for raid. And it's gonna be like yeah. I guess Andy doesn't wanna leak too much here. So I mean, maybe you wanna
Yeah, and you guys tell us everything about.
yeah,
no,
Andy's gonna be actually
what's been played in
reverse it.
tanks.
Andy's gonna be leading us here now since he has all the
Yes.
information. What's gonna be what Echo is gonna play as tanks and
Tank
I
comp.
think
all
I
good
leave the
stuff.
room, guys. I think I leave the
No,
room.
no, no, no.
I think you
have the
stay.
most
You just
insight.
take the lead here because I need to go, like I said, to the
Yeah,
toilet
yeah,
really
yeah.
fast. So if you wanna
Yeah,
start
I
it up,
also need
Andy,
to go to
then
the toilet.
be my guest. Come on, Andy, lead us.
It just procced right now. Oh my god.
All right.
Wait, how do I start this conversation?
Well,
So
so
wait.
what do you think will be the very likely tank choices? Maybe that's giving away too much.
That's
Let's see. So, what do you think
Okay,
will
well-
be the advantage of bringing specific tanks to raid? You can start with whichever one you want.
I mean, wait, you want me to go specifically through each tank?
Yeah, yeah. So, like, like what would be good about bringing, this tank to this raid or not?
Okay, well, the number one tank I would say to not bring. I can start
Is
with that
Guardian.
one. It is the orange one, yeah. Got injured.
Ah, shit.
Like, oh fuck, spoilers, guys. No, I mean, this tank just sucks, dude. I mean, it's heavily like bugged right now in like a negative way. The thing is, unless like let's say Boomkin, Beryl are just like beyond garbage, and Resto Druid somehow, although Resto Druid kind of sucks pressing Raw, to be honest.
Wait, did you just say fuck Guardian Druid?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy.
Like, I don't know. This tank just doesn't do anything special, and on top of that, I mean, it does still do decent damage. It seems. Although I don't think the APLs are like 100% correct.
I mean, to be honest, when do you ever bring a tank to a raid because it does
For
5k
damage.
more DPS than another tank? Like I
Right,
don't remember.
right.
Maybe like Protpala back in Shadowlands, but that was because Protpala was not 5k ahead, but more like 30% to 40%.
Yeah,
ahead of the
it was a
second,
lot. It was a substantial amount more. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing, right? So yeah, like I mean it's kind of in the same boat as a few other things in a way. Where yeah, I don't know. I just don't see this tank at all ever being played ever in raid.
So is it like
Until maybe
where
next
do we
expansion.
put it? Do we put it like down in buff me? Like it just needs some help?
Oh
or-
yeah, for sure. Yeah, we
Oh,
put it down
okay.
and buff me.
Okay.
Oh wait, hang on.
It's kind of like buff me is like a kind way of saying like it sucks. I didn't want to be like toxic when I made this tier list, but like let's put it let's call it buff me, okay? But it means it sucks.
Yeah.
But
I
also
would
like
say
what do you
so.
think if they fix the bugs though? Is it gonna help like a lot or no? But it's mainly like blood friends. It's mainly more of a like
It's gonna be better, but it's still gonna be buff me. I think. Like
Yeah,
this
still has problems.
this class like needs also the spec needs actual like changes. Like legitimate, just like
I feel like Guardian Druid had what just happened to Ret Pala. Because remember when like Ret Pala got reworked?
It's a prop paladin too.
Yeah, no, but like yeah, but the thing is like because Ret, for example, because I played Ret like in 10.1, so I remember this because Ret got the rework and the current tier set they had were like omega busted because they really sucked the talent wise, but the tier set kind of carried the damage. And then when they got reworked and actually got like decent talents, they became broken in terms of damage. And then they were like, holy fuck, Red Pal is so broken, so we need to nerf their damage. And then when you lost the tier set, you just became, bottom fragging, again. And I feel like Guardian would had the exact same thing now when their tier set added like so much damage to them. And like, the healing and passive healing and everything, right? This 10.2 tier set was like probably the most broken tank set out of all of them. Like 20% maul, raise damage, 15% was it mental thrash. Like it was so busted for damage, right? And now when they were like doing so much damage, or like at least very good damage, they got nerfed, and then they lose a tier set on top of it, and they see like a double dip. They just
Yeah, I mean, it is always the thing to watch out for the most going into every tier is what class or spec had like the best tier set. Like, because
Mhm.
obviously, like, unless they get something equally good or better, they're always gonna get like inadvertently nerfed. And I think Guardian Druid just it took that hit, and then it took another hit on top of its
Yeah.
head as well,
Yeah.
and then it took some bugs as well.
Yeah,
So
I
now
mean,
it's
we'll see
just
how it plays out after the bugs, I guess. But yeah,
I mean, honestly, guys, like, I mean, obviously, there's like loads of tanks watching everywhere right now. Like, you should not play this tank. Like, you should reroll.
Shit, no, holy
holy,
shit.
like that is
No,
that's
no, genuine. You should like, if you want to have fun,
Genuinely.
if you want to
genuinely
play World of
reroll.
Warcraft, you should genuinely play something
True.
else.
How is-
Like, you should.
I just ripped the like how does the best like healer, for example, Holy Pala, go from best to just straight up worst? It cannot happen. But I feel like we have the case with Guardian, goes from a fucking pumper to like buff me, you know? And it just like
Yeah.
took like 2 nerfs and like, god dang.
Yeah, I mean, they just touched one too many knobs. Like, it was fine for them to have a different tier set, but then, like, on top of the nerfs and on top of the bugs, it's just too much.
Okay, let's move on to the next tank. Let's just go in a list.
Yeah.
Blood DK. This one is gonna be sick, no? I know for a fact, and you don't need to have to leak too much, but I know DK is gonna be strong as hell.
Yeah, it is gonna be sick. Like, it's gonna be really good.
Holy,
I
he
mean,
confirmed, guys. He's gonna play DK. Thank you, Andy.
Maybe, I mean, it all depends as well. Like, this tank could be even better based off the legendary, right? We didn't actually talk about that. There was some leaks, but I think those leaks were fake.
Yeah,
about the
they
legendary.
were mega fake. There was like the
Yeah,
world class
so,
trinket
but-
leaks, you mean, right?
Yeah, I mean, if the legendary is like, let's say, Gavel levels of good, then I think DK is gonna be very, very strong.
But the thing though with like, okay, sure, if you're like a civilian, like a gamer dad, and it takes you like,
Yeah.
it just depends on who you are, right? Because like for example, Blood DK for you, Andy, which is rating race world first, is gonna be a
Right.
most likely a very different tank from someone who's progressing for like months or like let's say 2-3 months, right, to clear the raid and has the legendary. Because if that legendary is gonna be powerful, DK might be like insane, like insanely strong, right? But for you,
Right.
like it doesn't matter if it's strong or not, because you will never have it until you're done with the progress anyway. So it
Well,
depends on.
Blizzard did say that they don't want the legendary acquisition to be how it was for the Evoker Sokreth legendary. So
Do you think you can get this one week 1 and have it for like race world? Like no way.
I
right?
mean, that's the thing. Yeah, we don't know. Like,
Yeah.
it could just
feel
spawn
like
from
there's no
normal.
way.
Yeah, it could just spawn from normal. Like, you killed normal Firak, and then
I'd be
guess,
so
yeah.
surprised if it was like a first week.
But like
legendary thing.
imagine if like Echo and the Brew, like I don't know if you're gonna play DK, I'm not gonna spoil anything, but then like Andy Brew, he goes in on his DK, he kills normal Firak, and the legendary axe drops, and then Liquid's DK is sitting when it's still with his fucking 450 Ashkander, you know? Like imagine it's gonna be
Time to get back to splits.
yeah, it's like okay, I guess we're splitting boys, a few more.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't know. I would be surprised if we can get it week 1. That's all I'm gonna say. I think it's like gonna be. I mean, I think it's gonna be like the Evoker thing, where like each region gets it confirmed on like the last boss, right? The first kill from Mythic. But like I would be really surprised if we're gonna
Yeah,
kill normal and just loot the axe. Maybe if you're like Omega, like
Yeah, so the way it worked in last year, Aberrus, was that you had to wait for the first evoker to kill Mythic,
yeah.
like Sokreth on the server for anyone
No,
to
on
be
the
able
region,
to get
right?
it.
It was.
Yeah, on the region, sorry. So
right.
yeah, but yeah, they admitted that they don't want to do that again. They thought that was like a little bit cringe. But
I think
mean,
that was good though. Like I don't know, cause
But you guys remember, what was it? The legendary from Legion, the Amon Fools trinket? Like that, you could just get that straight up just off normal.
yeah, I
from
know.
like
I
the
remember
get-go.
Leppan had it on. He was pushing keys. I was so jealous because I didn't have it on my DK.
Right.
I mean, Legion was all
So
sorts of fuck.
I don't know, like
Yeah.
nobody knows. It's a big mystery, but I
But
mean, if
did-
it's
Yeah, you go. Sorry.
well, I mean, if it's at all good, then I mean, I think Blood DK is gonna be like, I mean, it has to be good. Yeah, it's like legendary of the last, last boss of the
let's
expansion.
talk like even no legendary, right? It's still like really strong.
It's
no?
still good. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
like damage. Isn't that like damage? I mean, it might not be the highest one, but it's definitely up there. No. It's because DK struggled a bit with damage in like 10.2 and stuff, right? Single target.
They have, yeah. I mean, in terms of damage, it's definitely much better than they were
Mhm.
before.
And also, like, I must say that DK is always like one of the best scaling tanks every expansion. Like, sure, all tanks scale, but DK, like, when you get like enough, haste and verse, you're just becoming so powerful. Because the issue is always that like, okay, I need a lot of haste. I'm not gonna be able to have as much verse and mastery. But like the further into the expansion you go, you just get like so much more of these stats, and it just becomes so smooth to play. I feel like.
I'm not sure that's like the same anymore, because the thing is, you don't really need as much haste as you used to, or well, like you don't like as like you still like haste, sure, but you
Mhm.
don't like need like tons of it as you did before.
No, but it's still
like-
I feel like like I don't know how to like describe it, but I feel like, for example, like a brewmaster also scales well with items, you know, but brewmaster still plays well with less
Must mean
stats,
so,
you
yeah.
know. But like DK, just like it just feels so good to play DK when you have a lot of stats.
Right.
You know, I don't know. Like maybe I'm the only one feeling this way, but it's always like end of expansion playing DK is always sick. It just feels so nice to play, and I'm sure it's gonna be the same now in this raid when once you get, you know, heroic mythic gear. Yeah, I'm excited for DK. I mean, I'm not gonna let you spoil everything here, but would you put it in? I don't think it deserves to be in bis meta, but like it's definitely really strong. What do you feel about where we would put it for the raid? Maybe
What do you
Dorki.
think, Dorki?
Yeah, Dorki, you've been silent here now.
I don't
What do
know.
you feel?
Bro, I have no raid inputs.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I would put it in really strong.
Yeah.
I would say.
I mean, that's at least where I would put it after, like, because I've been reading all these boss fights and I've been watching. I haven't played, like I said, Bloody K myself because I'm gonna be playing Protpala.
Yeah,
But like I can
mean-
like since I've been playing so much DK in my days, I can just feel like this is gonna be a good DK experience. Looking at the boss fights and everything, I will see.
Yeah, I think a large part of it too is also like what tanks do you really want to bring for a raid because of your group comp. Because like historically, you would see a lot
Yeah.
of Brewmaster, for example, because you know why the hell would you ever want a Mistweaver or a Windwalker in your group? But with how strong apparently Mistweaver is, I could see there being room for a tank like Bloody K instead.
Yeah.
So it's very likely that you would probably lock this in.
Okay. Anyways, it
mean-
is Brewmaster next. I mean, I don't want to let Andy talk too much about it. Like I've been thinking since I'm tanking this raid now. I have been thinking a lot about like
Oh.
what tank to bring and stuff like that, and what you know Echo / Liquid would also bring. And originally I thought you would like always like. There's no way you don't bring Brewmaster to this raid, because I didn't know the power of Mistweaver. But I feel like Mistweaver. So here's my take, right? You don't want to bring more than one Holy Pala. You don't want to bring a
Nope.
Ret, so you want to bring a Prot Pala. Because you need 2 Palas for the auras. So you're always going to play Prot Pala in this raid. And then you're choosing between Blood DK and Brewmaster for the second tank, most likely. Or like potentially like Venue, we don't know yet, right? But then I feel like Brewmaster falls off since you're playing Mistweaver, and the only reason you would bring Brewmaster is of the strength of the Brewmaster themselves over the 5% physical buff you always brought them before. And I don't feel like Brewmaster is as strong as DK, for example, with this raid. I do feel like their damage is really solid, but like we talked about before, you would never really bring a tank because they do like 5k more DPS than something else. So I still think I would put like Brewmaster in really strong because I think it is really strong for the raid, but I still think it's like behind DK in terms of like
Yeah,
strength.
yeah.
So like
I
maybe
feel
you
the
put it in
same.
really strong, but like behind DK because it is like we're doing really sick damage. And I don't think it's bad at all. It's just that it just doesn't bring too much for the raid. Now, if you end up playing Mistweaver, that is. But if Mistweaver gets nerfed, you are 100% playing Brewmaster. So I guess it depends on if they let Mistweaver be, you know, really, really powerful.
Yeah, I
I don't know if
mean,
you agree or disagree, Andy. You don't want to spoil too
I mean,
much.
I
but-
think Brewmaster is really good. I think it's really really strong. I think it's still like just an absolute banger tank.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, it just does really
But
good
do
damage.
you agree that like
Survivability
it's
is
a
really
bit
good.
behind DK? If you count out
In
the
terms
buff,
of
like
in terms of
the 5.
survivability inside raid, yeah, to a degree. There are some like things that you would just like survive on a DK that would be slightly harder to live on as a brew for sure.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I still think brew is like really
Yeah, I agree with
really
you. I
sick.
think it's definitely up there. Okay, let's
Yeah.
go next tank, which is Protpala, what I'm gonna be playing. I'm really excited to play Protpala this tier. I'm gonna put it in bis meta. That's where it's gonna be. It's not gonna be the tankiest tank, as I do think you will definitely struggle more than other tanks on some fights. But like everything it brings to a raid as just being a Protpala with like sack, bop, like off healing. It's like the thing with Protpala is that it's the only tank that is not like useless while not actively tanking. Because if you look at all the other tanks, while they're not tanking, they're just sitting there and they're just pressing damage abilities, right? They don't really do anything. Meanwhile, a Protpala, like you just sit there and off-heal the entire raid and like sack and bow, you know, like it's the one only tank, and that's why I feel like it makes them so broken. That has impact while not. Druid does the same. What does a Druid do for the raid while you're not actively tanking? Sure,
He's talking about form shifting and healing. I think.
No, I mean, Druid heals too. I mean, you don't shapeshift out of form to send a fucking regrowth. Like, I mean, sure, if you have a regrowth
I mean, you
proc,
could.
yeah, you could, but like, it's not like the thing with Protpala is that like that's the same. It's not like it's not even close. Sure, you can heal, but like a Protpala is like literally sitting there blasting damage, and sure, you lose out on a little bit of damage from your Shield of the Righteous. But like you're also doing like the most important healing in the raid, which is spot healing. Because healers can always cover, just like sustained damage taken on the raid. That's never an issue. The issue is that people die from like standing in fire or like getting hit by something, and then they need to get spot healed. And that's why or where Protpala shines. So I mean, I might be biased because I think Protpala is like straight up insane. And the only reason, like for example, I know Andy that you even played them in like Vault, the first raid. And that was like the only raid where I was like, Protpala is also gonna be like insanely strong here, but the fights are just like so punishing for a Protpala. I remember like Dathea, Razaget, like I was like, I don't want to play a Protpala on these fights. It just sounds so painful. And that's why I didn't want to play it in that raid. But I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, Dathea was fun. If you got hit by a random tornado, you were dead.
Yeah.
It's Propeller. That was good.
But I don't know. Like, do you think I'm like overhyping Protpala, or do you think it's because also the fact that so here's my second take on Protpala, why it's so strong this raid, is that Holy Pala you only want one of. Red Pala is like really mid. It's not bad, but it's not gonna be strong either. It's gonna be like decent. If you're playing a Red Pala, you're gonna do fine, but like you're not gonna be top damage. So that means you want a second Pala in the raid, and Prot Pala is gonna be really strong, and that would be the Prot Pala. Because if you don't bring the Prot Pala, and let's say you have to bring a second Holy Pala or a Red Pala, you would potentially miss out on a way better healer or like another Havoc Demon Hunter, whatever Fotem DPS you could bring, right? Just to, get the second Pala in if you're not playing Pro. So I feel like right now, with Ret not being like insanely strong and Holy Pala not being the best either, Prot becomes even like better in that regard.
Right. Yeah, I mean, obviously, like the Rhetor is like an important buff. I do think you are like overhyping Propeller a little bit, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I definitely think it's good, but I mean, I think you will have some hard fights as a Propeller.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think those could potentially be quite challenging for you.
Do you think it
other
like
tank?
deserves to be like above other tanks, or is it like just in really strong? Because I feel like even though you might struggle on some fights, you can kind of sort that out by like good cooldown usage and like externals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you
and what it brings is just like
you could definitely.
no other tank really can compete with that. But do you feel like they should be moved down to like really strong, or do you still feel like they are a little bit above the others for this tier?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of like what they bring, yeah, I mean, obviously no other tank can really compete with that, right? In terms of what it brings to a raid. But yeah, I do think they're really good. I wouldn't necessarily say they're like this meta necessarily.
Yeah. I also must say though that like Protpala is like really player dependent. It's the one tank where you would way rather just have, if you have a tank that just like is new to tanking or just usually plays one, like don't have your tank reroll Prot Paladin, because like if you just average at Prot Paladin and you're not making sure of what a Prot Paladin brings, like the spot healing, the sacks, like all of that stuff, then like there's no reason to play a Prot Pala. Then you're just straight up better off playing like Blood Decay or Brewmaster or potentially Vengeance. But yeah, I think it's like the thing is though, like if you have a good Prot Pala, it is so strong. And I'm just talking from like own experience because I just love this tank, I guess, in raiding. But I feel like we've been talking about this tank for like 10 minutes, so maybe we should move on to the next one. I might be overhyping it. It might go down and really strong, but I want to put it in. I do think it's a tier above the other ones. It might not be bis meta, but I don't feel like it's fair putting it next to a Brewmaster either. I don't know.
Yeah, so when you were talking about sacks, can you clarify what sacks you're talking about?
Yeah, you're sacking the other tank because you don't want to tank and then you rest him.
Okay.
Or what do you mean? Or
No. Okay.
Yeah, you just like you don't want to tank because you want to off-fill a raid, right? So you sack the other tank, letting me take like
All right, so you put sack on over tank.
Yeah, you could put your ball sack on him, but like that is kind of rude, He drops to the floor and it would be kind of rude to just put your ball sack on top of him and be like, yo, it sucks to die, right? But
did he ask for it though?
It sucks to suck.
Yeah, sucks to suck, yeah. No, but for like Blessing of Sacrifice is also like extremely powerful in the raid. But let's stop talking about Protpala. I might be overhyping it. I'm gonna put it out there. It might be a high chance I do overhype Protpala. So take that in mind. I'm just a big Protpala fan in general. Let's go to Vengeance Demon Hunter. I actually don't know how well they're gonna perform in the raid. I have a very hard time getting a grasp of Vengeance in raid. I know how strong they will be in a plus, but I think you play like Down in Flames, where it's called. You don't play the parry thing, right? In raids, the sigil. So it's like the one tank. I'm actually not sure how strong it will be in raid. I do think it's definitely gonna be on top, on par with like Brewmaster and Blood DK in terms of like strength. But like I don't know, like between like the three of them.
I think this
what's
tank
actually
is
like
still really good in red.
yeah, I do agree, but like I just don't know exactly like how good it will
Um,
be. I don't know if you want to leak, like how much you want to leak, but like if you want to give some input, feel free to do it.
If I speak, big problem.
Okay. I mean, we'll just put it in really strong. It is gonna be, I think it's gonna be very solid for the raid. I just don't have like too much experience with this one myself. But if you're playing Vengeance in 10.2, I think you're in for a good ride. Yeah, we'll put it in really strong, and we'll leave it like that. The thing is though, also that hurts Vengeance, I guess. It's just like Brewmaster right now, that Havoc is like so strong that you don't need to bring Vengeance with a 5% magic
Yeah.
damage buff. But if Havoc will get, I really doubt Havoc will be get nerfed so much that you wouldn't want to bring a Havoc to your raid. But you know, if it would happen, of course, Vengeance stonks go up, right?
Yeah, of course. I mean, remove raid buffs, Ian. They gotta go.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Okay, so the last tank for raiding would be Warrior. And I think
Yeah.
Warrior would be like between average and could struggle on some fights. I don't know if you agree with this. Maybe
No,
average.
I disagree.
You
I'd
disagree?
say
You
it's
think
really
it's like
strong.
up there as well? Like
Yeah,
the rest?
I think War is fucking sick.
Okay.
Like even on like the heavy magic damage fights where everyone's like, oh, but yeah, Warrior is bad versus magic damage, yada yada yada. You know, if it can't spell block or can't reflect something, you know, and they don't have like shield wall, they're gonna struggle. Yeah, it's not true at all. Like with the new tier set, they're still defensively, they're still an absolute brick. Like Pro Warrior is gonna be really good for the raid.
All right. I mean, also worth adding is that they have now Rallying Cry did get nerfed, if I'm not mistaken, right? Going into 10.2. The
Yeah,
more HP
it's
provides.
it was 15% before. Now it's 10%, and they removed the inspiring presence rate or talent, which buffed it as well.
Yeah. I mean,
Um,
I don't know like exactly where to put it, but if you say it's really strong, I believe you. I mean, it's mainly the tier making it like really solid, right? So especially single target.
yeah, it's the tier set. The tier set just is especially good for raiding.
Yeah. Also, like I said with like Rallying Cry, that if it was any tank you would bring, just because of like, let's say you had a free spot for a tank, right? And you just wanted to bring something to like be beneficial to the raid, and you didn't need a raid buff, you would definitely pick a Warrior, right? Because of the Rallying Cry can just help you in situations where you might get one shot. Now with like double Aug and like I don't know if they stack or like how they interact with each other, but I would definitely want a Warrior over like a Vengeance or a Brewmaster if they were the same power level, just because of the Rallying Cry.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a tank that's very viable for like for progress rating right now, like on Mythic. Like they are really good.
How is their damage on single target compared to other tanks? I think we talked about it, but
wait, I had like a list with the current APLs. I think they're like slightly below Paladin.
but is it like if you have the like API like Paladin, aren't
and
they playing like crit wings and stuff in this? Like I don't know how
Yes,
accurate.
yes,
but
they
so you
are,
cannot
yes.
really take like I would never play
They're
crit wings
playing-
in progress as a prot pala.
They are, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think the damage is pretty good, I would say. Like it's definitely well, I mean, okay, let's say all the tanks are playing like more survivability builds. I would
But that's what they
say
do in progress, right? Like if
I
you're
would say
playing the
Pro
game.
Warrior would be on the higher end for sure.
Okay.
Like if every tank like played like a kind of like, you know,
So you're
like
basically
a
saying
live
like
lord build.
balancing is like really good for the new raid, unless you're a Guardian Druid.
Yeah, that's why I said. if you that's why I think
Okay.
if you
Yeah, I
want to
mean-
play the game and you're a Guardian Druid player, you should like reroll or quit the game and play old school RuneScape. That's what Pump says.
Wait, even Pumps is that like he's that depressed? Because he's like
He's
whenever
fully
I wanna.
Doomer.
Oh really? Because like whenever I wanna like I even named my druid after Pumps in this latest TGP. I don't know if people know this, but like
Yeah.
whenever I wanna like see druid stuff and like see someone blast and like compare like okay so how is it playing for damage and it's like Guardian Druid is always Pumps. It's always
No,
blasting on his druid.
he wrote in my chat, I like you reroll or you go play old school RuneScape.
I mean if
That's
even
what
he
he
is
said.
that depressed, then I guess
He's very
it's-
sad.
it's
He's like
bad.
very, very sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, like looking at this list right now, like it does look good. I think like this is like kind of accurate with how tanks are for rating. I would say, like in terms of
Potentially Potpala being moved down on the same tier as the other ones you mentioned.
yeah, exactly. Like I think every tank is like really good. It's just It's just a question of like how you fit stuff based off, you know, the fights or based off overall raid comp.
But like, okay, so let me ask you this, for example.
Those
Let's
are the
say
things I like.
you bring a warrior and a bloody king instead then as
Right.
tanks, and then
Right.
you're stuck bringing a red pala or a second
You'd have to
holy
bring a
pala.
red pala, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wouldn't you rather bring a prot pala +1 and bring like another havoc demon hunter, whatever is pumping, than to bring a red pala to bring another tank? That's like why I feel like they're really.
I mean, I think it will entirely depend on the fights. It'll depend on what characters get gear, you
Mhm.
know, players as well. I think there's like loads of factors to it, really.
I feel like maybe it's different for Razorwell first, but I feel like you would way rather currently have 2 broken havoc demon hunters pumping and bring a
Yeah.
prot pala than to bring a red pala just because you need a second pala for the. But are we happy with this for raiding? Like, do you think this shows how the tanks are? Like, just don't play like apparently don't play druid, just reroll and you're good
Yeah.
for the raid.
Yeah,
Everything
I
works
mean,
apart from druid.
yeah. I mean, I'm happy with this. Like, yeah, just
Okay.
reroll if you're a druid, really.
Okay. Harsh words, but the truth, I guess. So now it's time for bring back Dorki to the conversation. Wait, let me play the Dorki. Are you gonna carry us
Okay.
through M+? I made like
I
the
love
same.
M+.
Yeah. I made like similar. Like I changed the bis meta to like rank 1 Rio score.
Yeah.
But the same. Like the other ones are kind of the same. So you just wanna start with Bloody King? Talk about it a bit.
Bloody Case? I feel like Bloody Case is always a hard one. For Bloody Case, I feel like this class is so amazingly good until you get to higher end keys. Then it struggles a bit and it starts to fall off, and you get to really see the problems of the class. Also, it just doesn't really bring anything to the group now that like every class is like so good. Like the control is not that amazing. Like yeah, grip could be useful for stops here and there, but that's about it really. And it's got no real group utility or like raid buffs or anything,
Yep.
which makes it really fall behind compared to other tanks. Like even if this class did higher damage than other tanks, it doesn't matter because it's not going to make up for the lack of Chaos Brand, for example, or Mark of the Wild. So I think
Yeah.
it depends on the type of content you're doing. Yeah, what are you saying?
It has to do like a lot more damage than the other tanks, like
Yeah,
season
or just
3
be like infinitely
Dragonflight
tankier.
level.
Right.
No, not Dragonflight. Sorry, Shadowlands level of
Shadowlands,
like
yeah.
difference, right? Yeah, it's always like a big struggle with DK. Where
Yeah, like the only way I see DK ever being good is if it's that much better.
yeah, they have to be like really, really broken. I mean, after playing DK a bit on myself on PTR, I played it quite a bit. I think it's very good, but I am really scared about there's like a few tank buster type mechanics where I think you might struggle survivability wise versus like when you go to like really obscene high key levels. Like for example, in Ataldazar, there's the what do you call them? The shield bash mobs. I can't remember their
Yeah,
name.
Shield bearers.
Shield bearers. Yeah, like I think I was doing that on like 30 or 31, and I would like almost get one shot through like I don't know how big my blood shields were, to be honest with you. But like I had like a decent blood shield plus fan blood before each one, and like I would almost get one shot just with that, which is like always really
Yeah, and like
scary.
if that's enough, then like what the fuck do you do?
Yeah,
as you go
exactly.
higher?
Yeah, so stuff like that can be like really punishing. Whereas like if you compare that to say, let's say a prot warrior, he just has shield block forehead and he'll live every time.
Right.
Because he's just that much better versus like extreme physical damage. So yeah, stuff like that. I am worried about playing Blood Decay versus like when you just go to ridiculous levels of keys. Yeah, but that's like a very. I'm trying to think of like other ones. I guess the other one would be something like there's the big mobs in Throne of Tides, like the ones that also cast their
The
heal absorb
Sentinels,
on people. Yeah, those will probably be like
They're gonna chunk you for sure.
big
on high keys.
problem on as Blood
Yep.
Decay on really high key.
Yeah, I mean, so here's my take on like Bloody Cake, because people were like really hyping DK up and like, oh, they do so insane damage, they're gonna be so strong in M+. But I feel like this tier set is not like strong enough. Like, you think Shadowlands last season with the Rune Weapon tier set, right? Like, where they will like not suffer, like you just said, in like really high keys. But I think if you're just a player who's doing like a little bit lower keys, where you don't end up getting a straight up one shot on a DK, or you're like a player who's like really pushing score and you want to have like a really fun and decent ult, I think like DK is perfect. Because I think DK is way better than last season, but I still don't think it's gonna be like what you see people bring for, you know, their push week, you know. But I definitely think it's strong.
Yeah, it's for sure better than last season, I would say. But But yeah, I mean, I think Dorki brought up a really good point, which is just like raid buffs. It doesn't bring anything, which
Yeah,
for like
that's.
high key comps is so important.
I swear, like these
Um,
raid buffs, like especially on tanks, are so like awful
Okay,
to
wait.
play around.
I,
Like it's
I
so
don't know if I
bad.
want to. I don't know if I should leak. Nah, wait, fuck it.
Okay.
We do it.
All
We
right.
do it. There's a lot of people here. So I did actually
Wait.
talk to Ian at BlizzCon,
Oh, okay.
and I told him about
Okay.
how I actually gave him this example of Blood DK,
Okay.
where
let him
like
cook.
Blood DK can only be really good like if it's just way better than the other tanks, right? And he said after our conversation that he's gonna look at reducing the impact of raid buffs inside Mythic Plus. So
That would be
Interesting.
whether
sick.
whether or
Just
not
disable
that's
them in a
like
plus, or like that would be the
I,
best.
I
Like,
don't know. Well, he said reduce. I don't know if he meant this because he's obviously the way he talked about it with me. He obviously is already like they've already spoken about it. Yeah, as a team or whatever. It's like been
Yeah,
a
they're
topic
probably
that they've
aware.
talked about.
yeah,
Yeah, exactly. So whether that means I don't know, they like remove it in M plus, or they just like straight up do like some sort of aura nerf, or they bring back like scrolls again, but like
But,
better
like,
versions
let-
of scrolls. I'm not sure. I don't know.
Let's say you play Vengeance and it did 5% increased melee damage, and then like, oh, they only do
Right.
3% in a plus. That's
It's
still a
still too
ton
much,
of
yeah.
damage you need to make up on a DK.
Right.
You know,
Right.
Like it's.
So,
I don't even know
I
if
think it's going to
nerfing
be
them would.
all depend on how they implement it, but it will be something that they will bring out next expansion though for the War Within.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
I don't think scrolls is the way to go either, because like, how are you gonna scroll
No,
a physical damage on the mob? You know, I just
I
really hope
think
they would
it will just
disable
be
them
like a
because.
straight up big aura nerf for these raid buffs, or they will just like remove it for M
Mhm.
plus. I think that's what they will do.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
it's just really weird because they've been doubling down on raid buffs, but and then like I don't know. I mean, they've been going back and forth with raid buffs. I don't really see there being a clean solution unless they really do something about it.
yeah. I don't know if I should have leaked that. Maybe it's fine.
I mean, it's too late now, but
It's
It's
probably
still
just like
I
an
know,
interview
yeah.
question.
I think it's fine. I mean, I think it's good that you guys know that, to be honest, because it's like something that people have talked about for a long time. I think.
Yeah,
So yeah, I think it would be a really good change.
yeah. So I would say like one last thing with DK. I'm sure it's like amazing for most groups, and it's actually like more than fine for most groups, particularly because like of how the class works. It does supremely well until you get to very high end content, and then kind of falls off a bit. But like most people really aren't reaching that point,
yeah, exactly.
so it's kind of hard to like really place this tank. I would
No,
say
but
it's
like,
really strong though.
unless you're doing literally the straight up the highest keys in the world, I think DK is gonna be fantastic. This like it's gonna be so fun to play. You're gonna feel powerful. You're gonna do like really good like burst damage and DK. I feel like every tank player just loves playing DK because how you just take care of yourself, right? Like no better feeling than always making sure like if you fuck up, you die. If you play good, you survive. And it's only generally an issue when you do, especially like fortified, the highest potential keys you can
I would say
do,
my
right?
biggest problem is how much control other tanks have compared to this tank.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Yeah.
don't feel like the solution should be nerfing the control on other tanks because that's kind of boring. I would rather they do something about the dungeon design or something about the classes that don't have as much control.
Yeah, I agree with that. Okay, let's move
Right.
on to Brewmaster. I guess both Dorki and I have been playing Brewmaster in PTR. I think you said earlier, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we did kind of like touch upon it earlier. I mean,
Mhm.
I do think this tank is like also really strong, especially if you play with augmentation, which I think you will for every tank anyway. I mean, every tank like scales well in terms of
That's what I'm
gets
adding for
big,
DK as
big
well, actually.
benefits from aug, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like I don't know the difference between playing Brewmaster with and without aug. I don't know. It's just like night and day because you're just able to I don't know stay into the pool longer till you get your next celestial brew. Like I don't know. I mean, I think you would much rather play for hierarchies. I think you'd much rather play Brewmaster than Blood DK. For M plus. Purely based on the fact that Brewmaster has some really unique, strong kind of ray buffs that Blood DK doesn't have. Like you have the OP close to heart, and you have physical debuff as well. And you also have, or you can go into the avoidance, across your party as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I
The raid
myself,
buff.
I would put it
Brew-
into really strong personally. Like,
Okay. I think you're a little bit too kind to Brewmaster. I don't know if I would put in
you
like.
think
Well,
so?
I mean, if you put in DK there as well, I guess it's fair. But I just feel like their class
mean-
buff, it's kind of like the same with DK, where like 5% physical damage is probably like the worst buff you could bring. Because like
No, but the big buff the Brewmaster brings is the close to heart buff. Like, because
the
it's
avoidance,
not
you mean, or
it's
the
not
healing
only
increase.
yeah, because it's not only
Yeah.
8% healing, it's 8% increased shields as well, and that
Okay,
could be like the
yeah.
difference between you. Let's take for example Dark Heart Thicket, where you have tons of bosses where you're
You get one
close to like almost getting one
Mhm.
shot, right? Like the Brewmaster buff could be the difference between you living or dying on, let's say, like the stomp from the tree boss in Dark Heart Thicket, right? Like it is really, really strong. And I mean, a reason why I guess Brewmaster hasn't been like meta is just the tank itself hasn't been like good enough. But I do feel like defensively they are like pretty good, and offensively they're also really good as well. I don't know.
What do you think,
it's not like
Dorky? Because I feel like
it's not like
Andy's
cloaking or
always gonna
anything.
talk highly about Brewmaster. Let's have
I'm
Dorky
not.
input,
I
who
mean,
is like,
people,
but it's
people
me
always
and
say that 'cause of
Potpala, you
my
know, like you
name,
say,
yeah?
you're not like or Bloody in that case,
Nah,
I guess.
dude, bro. I think I play more other tanks than Brewmaster these days. But
Let's
yeah,
just have Dorky input on the Brewmaster. What do you think since you
yeah.
played it as well?
So I mean, I do think for sure it's a better choice than Blood Decay for the most part, just because of like the buffs, and it's just more reliable of a tank. Like Blood Decay is not that reliable of a tank, but I also don't particularly feel like it's that amazing. Yeah, I do kind of feel like it is a little bit overrated. Like
Well,
maybe we're just ranking these tanks a little bit too high. I
What do you
don't
think
know.
is overrated about it? Like, what do you think in your view?
Well, I mean, I just feel like the other tanks that we can get into later are just that much better,
Yeah,
particularly
absolutely.
the control.
So you think we
I-
would move both of these
Like,
down to just
relatively,
average?
like,
Say, like
it's
I
all
think,
good,
I
but they're
think
relative,
not
he's
right?
actually right. I think we should move both these tanks to average. I think
Okay,
like one
sure.
tier below. I actually
Yep.
agree with him there.
Just because of like how good the other tanks are. Like, if it wasn't for the other
Yeah.
tanks being that good, I'd be like, yeah, I mean, Brewmaster's good as fuck.
No. I do agree with you. Like there are
Yep.
like
So
other
we
tanks
can
that
say
are
that
tier
like
above.
Brewmaster is gonna be like completely fine to play. Is still quite far behind the best ones. We will get to in a bit, but if you a Brewmaster enjoy it, you're gonna be having a decent time.
Yeah.
And I think we
Yeah.
can move on to the potentially worst tank in M plus, maybe Guardian Druid.
I mean, you already know where to put it, bro.
Is
Just
it
put
the
it there.
buff me even in M plus though? Like,
I think so. Yeah, I think it's garbage.
oh my God.
Holy shit.
My Dorky, are you
Yeah.
really gonna let him do you like this with bears?
I think it's pretty bad. I mean, look, you know
Oh,
how I
no.
usually put Guardian like pretty high up. I remember
Yeah.
I was telling everyone like in 10.1.5, Guardian was gonna be the shit. I remember you were DMing, you're like, bro, I don't think Guardian's that good. Is it really gonna be that good? You were still on the
Yeah,
DH train.
I was like not
Yeah,
believing it was gonna be that sick.
I'm usually pretty high on the Bear Copium trade, but this shit is bad, man.
It's really bad. It's like, I mean, it's the worst it's been since like I guess when you mended in BFA, right?
I mean,
It's that levels of bad kind of.
yeah, I remember I played, but I
Um,
only played Druid in BFA because I was not confident in my Protpala back then because I didn't like
Oh.
play Protpala at all. I don't think Druid was like insane in BFA. It was just like Guardian was a good tank if you were not the best on Protpala.
Oh no, I
think.
meant Dorki because he played. That was
Oh,
the
yeah.
origin of Dorki, yeah, in BFA.
Yeah,
The
push
bear.
season. That was
When
good.
was
Yeah.
that in BFA? That was I don't even remember this.
That was when the end of BFA.
And the
season 4.
BFA, yeah. That was the
Oh,
beginnings
okay.
of Dorki. I remember.
Yeah, that was the Bear stream.
I
just
was
like
there, dude. Does the
when
bear
we-
stream, yeah.
When you talk bears, I just remember Halls of Atonement first pull, the bear pull, sick.
Holy, that was
Yeah.
sick. Full shard pull.
Yeah.
I mean in Shadowlands. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I mean
that's
that
like
was
the last
sick, yeah.
before, like if you don't think last season, like that's the last time I remember like Guardian being like useful for something in a plus
Yeah,
kind of.
I mean Shadowlands Guardian was like pretty solid. I think the whole way through. I guess.
Yeah, but
aside
it's had
from,
a lot
like,
of
it's the last
issues
two
It has its
seasons.
niches.
Yeah,
it,
it
it
had
was
had
just like good
issues,
and
yeah.
bad.
But I think I mean now it's just I don't
No,
know.
it's like more issues than benefits, I guess. Sadly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get to one of the strong ones, Prot Paladin.
I'd put that in really strong.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put it in number one radar score, but I put it in really strong personally.
Yeah, agreed.
I know there are like a few people like I know Drogo talked about it. He thinks his tank is like gonna be the best tank, absolutely number one.
Mhm.
But
Because I am like
I-
really big Protpala fan, for example, for raiding, but I'm not
Right.
as big Protpala. Like I still think Protpala like is very strong in M plus, but I feel like the utility, like sure, Avenger Shield is broken in M plus, but like compared to Vengeance, Vengeance just does it better. Unless like there's a mob you cannot silence and only kick, for example. But
Yeah, I mean, there are
I
definitely
th-
situations like that, but not a lot.
I
yeah,
think the issue for me personally is that the other two tanks that you haven't put down on the list yet, Vengeance DH and Prot Warrior, are just way tankier when it comes to NM plus. Like they're just, I don't know, they're kings, both of those two tanks. And I
I
think
don't
that's just
agree
gonna be
with
like
you
a
with
big
Prot
difference.
Warrior that much though, but yeah, we'll get to that later, I guess.
Okay. I think you need to play some
Um,
more Prot Warrior then, I think.
Yeah, maybe I need to play more Prot Warrior, but
Yeah. But
so really strong for Prot Paladin then. I think like it really. I
yeah,
think Prot Paladin is like tank that is like
It-
just like good all over the place. They don't really have a weak like long like fortified pulls might be a weakness, but like you know they're just like good at dealing with like everything, and that's why they were like so strong in season 1. I feel like because they just like they didn't really have any weaknesses really, you know.
yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, there is some obviously like big niche value from Paladin in terms of the dungeons, where like for example Everbloom, you have like the 3 mobs before Everbloom, and
Yeah,
you know a Pro Paladin you can solo any one of those mobs.
I mean, you can solo 2 mobs if you know what
Which,
you're doing pretty much, but yeah,
Yeah.
I know what you mean. Like
well,
it's
it
really
depends on how long it would take to
yeah,
kill.
of course, yeah.
But yeah, like yeah, I mean for the most part, like at least for really high keys, you're probably gonna look at one thing to have. Like I don't know.
So
if
how
they've
is the
nerfed
tankiness?
those
Because
three.
you like we talked about like the Protpala not being like this tanky as in the raid. How do you think they're faring in
Right.
plus in terms of like tankiness compared to like
There are
these
some
other-
problems for sure. Like
Yeah.
the biggest one I can think of is the tree boss in Dark Card Fake It. That boss absolutely
good one.
destroys Prot Paladin.
But isn't that mainly
So-
because you're not in your consecration, right? Like when you get picked
You
up.
also
What
can't bubble the grip.
Yes,
Um,
you cannot. If you bubble,
What happens if you
crush and grip,
pre-bubble with like taunt on
it,
the?
it still goes through it. Like it
Oh
just
really? Okay.
it goes. Yeah, it's completely fucked. I don't know why, but it's weird because usually there's only like specific raid mechanics that go through
Yeah.
bubble, but for some reason there's a dungeon mechanic that goes through raid bubble, and it's a tank.
That is so weird.
dungeon
That is so
tank
weird
mechanic.
though that actually goes
It's
through bubble.
very strange. I've never seen
Yeah.
it before.
I feel like
but-
if anything, that must almost be a bug or not intended. I don't know if they
I-
have said anything about it, but because that is like
Yeah,
really weird for being a dungeon. I don't know.
Yeah, me personally, I think it's kind of strange. I think, but yeah, I think the tree boss, because the other 2 tanks can both leap the frontal as well. Like the problem with the tree boss when you get to really absurd high keys, it's not just the
Yeah.
grip, but the frontal is gonna absolutely rail you. And both Vengeance DH and Prot Warrior can actually can leap away from it every time.
Yeah,
and
but I
not get
mean,
hit.
if you play Evoker as well, you could also rescue away from it, right? It's a bit
You
risky,
can,
but
but it's quite fast.
Yeah.
Like rescue you might end up getting shot down. You have to be like really on your toes with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean you are right. Maybe like in a really good coordinated comp, you know, you could just call for a rescue as Prot Paladin, and that would make your life a lot easier.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely say it's doable. But yeah, there are like specific bosses, as Dorki pointed out, which are not good.
yeah. Okay. Let's move on to Vengeance. I think we all agree it is up there right now in the
I mean that's
category
rank
by
1 very
itself.
high score.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but like currently this is like you would even play Havoc and Vengeance, right? Right now, like it is a bit above the other tanks after the rework.
Yeah.
Um,
No, absolutely. Yeah.
both like I don't think damage is that insane compared to other tanks.
It is an AoE right now.
Yeah, it's good in AoE, but like single target, like so my take on tanks and plus is that like fixing AoE is mainly like on the DPS players in your group, because like a tank, you would way rather have a tank that does like really good single target and a bit less AoE than have a tank that has like padding AoE and doesn't do too good single target. So I feel like DPS players can just like talent into more AoE, but if a tank does like really sick single target, it just speeds up the runs a lot. That was like Vengeance like this season before, you know, they did really sick. You remember like when they first came out and everyone was like, holy shit, they do like insane single target, right? And I feel like that is
Right.
way more valuable than having a tank doing like good AoE. I don't know if you agree with me on this take, but that's with like dungeon speed and progress. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I would say in general, like not even just tanks. Like single target has generally more value than AoE. Now that doesn't mean like you should have no AoE, but
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
like it's disproportionate the amount that single target value has.
But yeah, I mean, Vengeance single target is not like shit, but it's definitely not like sick either. You know, AoE is decent. Single target, not really why you would bring a Demon Hunter. But that being said, like the defensive strength on single target and AoE right now is like said right on top of their insane
So
group control.
I think the biggest thing by far with Vengeance is the utility. Like I think even if they nerf their tankiness and damage, you would absolutely bring this tank just for the utility.
Yeah, it's
unless
still
like it just
planned.
could not live.
Yep.
Yeah, because like I mean, it's like what Gingy has said a lot of times before, right? Like a lot of times you will value how clean you can play dungeons over just like pure numbers. If there's a
Right.
class that like brings that much more utility and makes it that much easier for your group to do damage, that is so much more
Yeah.
valuable than like doing 10k more DPS or like some other obscure bullshit.
But it's kind of the
Yeah,
same with like
'cause
Guardian Druid, this season where like no other tank could really pull like a Guardian Druid, and then like you would just save so much. It's not the same as utility, but like if you had to play another tank and do one more pull in the dungeon, it would just be GG, right?
Or if you had to like cut like crazy too, that's
Yeah,
another thing that
yeah.
would make you lose a lot of damage in your group.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's also
Yeah.
another thing that Vengeance is insanely good at. Like Vengeance is just really good at large pulls. It gets better with more mobs. More mobs
Mhm.
means you just have more souls, more Painbringer. You're unkillable, and yeah, it's just like super good in large pulls.
Yeah. I mean, does
I
it have
mean,
any weakness you think currently? You could think
yeah,
of?
like I think the hardest part is just gathering mobs together on pull.
Yeah, I
I
was
would
gonna
say
say with like
that's like
there's
the
something
trickiest
I have
part.
noticed a lot, especially with the new tier set, because like your pooling tools, like what you used to group
Yes.
up mobs with previously was like Flame Sigil,
Yeah.
Throw Glaive, even though Throw Glaive was like I swear it was
So
bugged and didn't give you aggro. But now you lost your Flame Sigil because you wanna definitely make sure you hit, all the mobs with it. So now it's
yeah,
just like super awkward to like pull stuff together, especially if it's like really spread, because you have to like run through with Immolation or and like Throw Glaive and then just, I feel like the beginning of the pool is really awkward on Demon Hunter in a lot of cases.
it is really awkward because yeah, as you said, like before you'd use Flame Sigil, and now you don't really want to do that
Mhm.
anymore because you want to save it to hit like at least 90% of like whatever pack you're playing, right?
Yeah. I mean, now you would just pull like
or
if you had
preferably
to pull
everything,
with
right?
something, it would be like Illusion
They-
Decree or something
they-
in this case.
They did buff like you can play Throw Glaive that hits 3 mobs, and you can play like double charges as well.
Yeah. I mean, I would
And
not
force
play
guard
to
as
hit
well.
one more mob. It's mainly, you just need to pull the
Which
pack, like I don't think it matters if it's just
right.
one or two more mobs. It's mainly like it has a cooldown and like 2 charges I could see, but doesn't it also slow if you begin to charges?
No,
Different?
that's it's a talent node. Like you can go with
Okay.
one that gives you range and
Okay.
it doesn't
Yeah.
slow. So yeah, I think you definitely spec into that just to help you a little bit more.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean you are right. Like it is rough. It's absolutely horrible.
I mean, it was the same this season because like I even made an hour-long video trying to
Yeah, I
like
remember
help
watching it.
people like how to like start your pulls as a Vengeance Demon Hunter and how to set everything up. And I
Right.
feel like the issue is like I do think it's a little bit better this season because you have a faster time ramping with like Painbringer and you don't need to wait for your brand to spread. It goes faster like to get your Flame Seal down. Now the issue is just
Yeah.
like pulling everything, right? Like you're
Yeah,
still
like I
weak
mean
on pull, but like pulling everything is just it's a struggle.
yeah, I mean once you get the flame sigil down, like
Mhm.
you're Gucci gang, you're fine.
Yeah.
It's just the bit before that is like a bit cringe.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's not
I mean,
great.
I don't know. I don't fully agree with this because like I've been playing with this a lot, and I honestly feel like it's way better. Like it's not even. I haven't really felt it to be a major problem. I think you just sort of have to like commit to using Flame Sigil, like especially with the tier set fakes plus the higher uptime on Sigil of Flame. It honestly really feels like you're just much more free to throw out your Sigil of Flames and Legion Decrees.
I mean, it depends on
And
the pool
like
size, though. I feel like if
Yeah.
it's a big pool, I feel like you could use one and not really worry too much. But if it's like a 3 to 5 mob pool, I would really not want to waste like a flame.
but if you're
Sigil.
doing a 3 to 5 mob pull, you don't. There's not much to gather, right?
No, but let's say
Like
it's
in
like
that
2.
case.
Yeah, sure. But let's say it's like 2 packs, right? And like let's say you throw glaive on the left pack, and then you run into the 2 mobs in front
Yeah.
of you that start slamming you, and you don't want to put your flame seal down until other pack has. It's just like it's annoying to like. You can definitely deal with it. It just like requires a lot more like effort than like some other tanks where you just throw a shield on
Yeah,
top.
it's definitely
Consecration,
something for the average player to have to pick up. But I don't know.
Yeah.
I just don't feel like it's as big of a problem as it was last season. Because like last season, or like you had to get your brands spreading. You had to like actually worry about getting aggro before the pull even like fully is there. But now it's kind of like as long as everything is grouped in time, you kind of just have all the aggro. Because like Fel Dev is a super short CD, so you kind of just can freely send it. And once you Fel Dev, you have all the aggro
that's
in the
really
world.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can like drop a Sigil of Flame and it makes you very tanky right away. Legion Decree can just like pop at any real moment. Frogglaive also generates like a decent bit of aggro now too. And Frogglaive is 40 yards, which like really helps. Because
Yeah,
that's always been
with
one
the
of the
talent,
super
it's
clunky
really
part.
far.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like super
It's
nice.
Do
it's
you
like,
know if
normally
they
having
have
30 yards sucks.
they have fixed the Throwglaive aggro because I am so sure that it was bugged. Because like,
They did buff the threat generator slightly higher, and I think they also buffed the
but it was
base
like it was
damage
not the
as well.
threat generator. It was mainly
Well,
like the fact that you
it's-
threw it and the mobs ran to the healer. Like it was like it didn't
Well,
exist. You know, like
it's
it was.
because it's based off the amount of damage Throglyph does, and the damage was so little that like it didn't really matter. Like that the threat generator was like really
No,
high.
I kind of know what Robin's saying. Like,
But it was not like
I'm
it
pretty
was
sure
like
there
not.
was a
Are you saying
It
it was
must
just
have been,
completely
yeah,
bugged?
it must have been a bug
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I swear, like it was like you did. They didn't even like go to you for a split second, you know? Because if you pull,
Right.
they should run to you for a split second if the healer gets aggro, right? It was like
Right.
mainly you just threw glaive and they wouldn't even look at you. They would just run to another target, and it must have been like some. I don't know what it was.
No, yeah, I
but-
kind of know what you mean. Yeah, because
Yeah.
like I remember
Maybe-
someone complained about this during MDI, and it was a while ago. It might have been Ben way back in Shadowlands or something. But like there was this was a thing where like if you like sigiled something out of combat or something like that,
Yeah,
you just
yeah.
literally did not generate any aggro at all, and like people walking by would get aggro.
It was the same like in I remember when we played I played Vengeance in with the first tank magic boss. What is it called? With the
Oh,
last
you
boss
mean,
with the
Ruby
dragon
Life
and the
Force?
yeah, Ruby Life
Ruby
Force,
Life
exactly.
Force,
Yeah. Like
yeah.
in the beginning there, I would play Vengeance and I would put a flame sigil down on a pack and Maris would stand 20 yards behind me and like pre-channel his puzzle box. And I would put the sigil down and they would run to Maris. Like straight, they wouldn't even look at me, they would just like straight up run to him. And I was like, huh?
Yeah, yeah.
Like it was so like I
Yeah,
don't know,
I
it
know
was
you're
so
talking about.
weird, so weird. And it's no yeah. But we shouldn't talk too much about this because we still have one spec/class remaining. And
Yeah,
this
but
is
you
and
hate
this
you hate the spec though.
I mean it's not I'm
I
gonna be
personally
honest,
think
it's
this
not
is
my
really
favorite
strong.
spec. Yeah, I agree that it's strong, but I'm gonna let you talk first and I will give you my point on
mean-
it after. Where do you think you would want to put Prot Warrior? Really strong next to a Protvala?
I mean, I would even like in some cases put it over a Pro Paladin, honestly.
Okay.
I think it all depends on what your overall comp will end up being, and I think it all depends on also reflect as well. Like there's a couple really good reflex, and maybe get to like just super high key, and it's just like a
I mean,
world of
you for a
difference.
fact,
playing
you
Warrior.
feel this in your heart. You remember back in the day when we were fighting for rank 1 Rio and I played Prot Warrior in Wakecrest and you brought out your stupid ass Brewmaster and just couldn't kill the 3 witches.
Oh my
and you were
God, dude.
so angry that I just reflected and just
Right.
killed the boss and you just could.
That's 5
I
years
was so-
ago, dude.
Yeah,
What are
no,
you
but I
talking
still
about?
remember this because you were so pissed that I had reflect and you just didn't have anything on your Brewmaster.
Yeah,
was
of
a
course,
dark
yeah.
time.
I mean that is the warrior utility, yeah.
Yeah,
Is
I
the
know, I know.
reflect. It is the reflect.
And Wakecrest is back.
Yeah, I mean that is always like the thing with warrior, right? Is I mean we saw it this season with Notharians there. I
Yeah,
mean, we're
for sure.
bound to see it again. I feel like this tank is honestly like a pocket pick where like if reflect is like really broken, you just like shift it out. I think if you're a pro warrior main, you're definitely gonna have a good time though, if you're just playing it all the time. The only thing is,
Mhm.
only problem is that I see is just that it just doesn't have the. I mean, as we talked about it earlier, like I mean, you can run like stuff like disrupting shout to kind of help with stops and stuff to be like, I mean, closer towards these other 2 tanks on the top list that are really good with stops or at stopping mobs. But yeah, I still don't think it's like in the same league in terms of like what it gives your group. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely below like Vengeance Demon Hunter, for example, because I mean, I think as Dorki pointed out, the strongest point of Vengeance DH is the utility. But I definitely think defensively, the tank is really good. I mean, people
Yep.
always talk about like magic damage being a problem, but to be honest with you, like from my own testing, like magic damage is not a problem on this
It
version
depends if
of
you
Prot
can
Warrior
spell
with the
block.
Tissa.
The
It doesn't
damage or
matter.
not.
It
Yeah,
doesn't
I mean,
matter.
Ice
Honestly, like
Cutters, for example, you were struggling, but now you're stronger with the tier, right? But if you remember,
I can tell you that Prot Warrior, even on let's say the tree boss in Dark Heart Thicket, where the grip is like all magic damage, you don't care.
Oh yeah,
Like,
you don't take any damage. But I mean, is that a bug? I swear to God, it feels like a bug.
Nah,
I've seen that
it's-
too. You just take no damage.
it's just how it is. I mean, you have demo shout for every single one. You obviously like reflect for every single one as well, and you can shield wall every other one.
so,
But
so
yeah,
I
I
hate-
mean, it's just because of the tier set in general, like the amount of just like sheer DR you have now. With the tier set plus being in defensive stance, like you just don't care. Like I don't know, it's not true. Like it's fake news. The whole Prot Warrior sucks versus magic damage thing. Like the tank itself is just a brick. The only thing that sucks is like bleeds or like really heavy magic damage over time stuff that you can't like get rid of in any way, or can't spell block.
Like mainly, like I do agree with you. Like Protwar against melee damage that you can spell block, like you're good, but like you said, like magic
I mean,
dots
spell
and
block is still
bleeds.
broken, yeah.
Yeah, that hurts you over and other tanks way more. If you have a magic dot or like several dots throughout a boss
I
fight
mean-
or pulls, you will. Yeah, I'm not saying it's bad, but if you compare it to a Protpal and a Vengeance, especially when like you are not as good, you cannot say that you're as good as a warrior as I compared to these.
I would say Vengeance, yeah, like
Yeah,
Vengeance
yeah.
is like in a league of its own in that regard, yeah. But I
But
think
so here's why I think warrior is below paladin, because when I think tanks, I think as like a general whole for the entire season from that tank. I think Protpal is just like really good everywhere. Same with Demon Hunter. Meanwhile, warrior is like you said, yes, it is very tanky. Damage is decent, not the best, but like it's for sure like it can live probably all the keys you want to be doing, right? But they don't really bring anything to the group apart like compared to Vengeance and Protpala, which brings like tons of group control. Sure, Warrior has Shockwave, and you know you can play Disrupting Shout, but it's not like you cannot compare it to Protpala and Vengeance when it comes to. And therefore, I feel like they just fall behind. But in the dungeons where there is good stuff to reflect, like Wakecrest, Everbloom, I don't know how much you can reflect in Throne of the Tide. Then like I would definitely, like I said, put them above Protpala, because then the value goes through the roof, and that's why I would put them lower. Because if you just want to play one tank the entire like season for all the dungeons, Prot Warrior I would definitely say is weaker than both Protpala and Vengeance. But having it as a pocket pick, if you're someone who's tanking a lot and you play for the team, having this like ready and geared to bring it out in Wakecrest or like wherever you can reflect, that is insane. But if you play this tank in every single dungeon, I wouldn't want to put it with like Protpala. I don't know, because like Protpala and Vengeance makes it so easy for your group to play. You only bring a warrior and like it doesn't bring that. That's like my
Right.
reasoning why I don't think it's.
No,
I
I
actually
mean,
feel the same way about that too. I mean, it was kind of like the same thing that happened in the beginning of Shadowlands, right? Like, or not Shadowlands, Dragonflight, this expansion. Like, Prowl Warrior feels like it's a really strong standalone tank, but then it feels very situational, where other tanks kind of just do things better. That's how I see it. It just feels like a situational tank.
I mean, the case in point with Dragonfly Season 1 was Prots Warrior was like a really solid, good tank. I mean, it was especially good in something like Not Good, right? But then you had
Yeah.
Prop Paladin, where in a season where Holy Paladin wasn't really that insane, and you just could help your team, live through like the higher keys. But then obviously like the 0.5 patch came, and then they buffed Prop Paladin even more, and then you never really saw Warrior again, kind of.
Yeah, I mean
But
that's
yeah,
why
like
I would put Prot Warrior in like average, but in some dungeons it would literally be rank 1 Raid Riot score. So it's like a hard.
I just wouldn't put it in average, because I just think it's so much tankier than other tanks.
It does feel better than
Okay.
those other
Yeah,
tanks.
but let's put it in
defensively.
really strong. But I would definitely put it like after Pro. If you're thinking like just the entire like all the dungeons.
I mean, you say that, but like thing is, you'll do like just baseline and higher key levels than a Prop Paladin, because you'll just be able to live like
I mean,
like
we'll
you'll just
have
be
to
more of a
see
live
about
lord.
all of that
Well,
stuff,
do
further down the line. You might be
I
right when you say it, but
I mean, based off my own testing so far, like you will do like though you get to key level as a Prop Paladin where you won't live, and you would live it as a warrior. Like
yeah,
that's
but
just
you also didn't like
facts.
properly test. Like you were scaled to
I mean,
440,
yeah,
and
okay, that's fair. That's fair.
so
Like it
like I can see your point, but like I'm not, I would want to see like with more like high keys being done with both tanks before like I would fully agree with you, because I don't feel like PTR keys, they were not scaled properly. They're still balancing them. We don't 100%
I
know.
mean, yeah.
Like with the scaling and everything, you could be very much right. I think you might be right. I would push off both tanks.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like PTR testing is like not like perfect or anything. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, like I think, yeah, I mean, I think in like an overall general view, then yeah, you're right. I think Prop Paladin is definitely better than Prop Warrior. And yeah, I do think, yeah, I mean, as I said
It's
before, I think
mainly
Prop Warrior is more of like a pocket pick. I mean, for the most part, like you will just play Vengeance, I think, and then maybe if like I don't know, like let's say you get to like a Waycrest key level where you need reflect to time, +1
yeah.
higher key level, then yeah, you just whip it out, right?
But when I play, like when I compare them, it's like I feel like maybe you misunderstood me, because like if you think back to playing a Prot Paladin in a group, how
Mhm.
much like you just like soloed the dungeons with compared to like a warrior, that's like the difference. I think warrior is probably a stronger tank than Prot Paladin compared to tankiness, and you just make it so easy for everyone in the group to play when we bring either Vengeance or Prot Paladin, and it's only tanks that can really kind of bring this to the right now. I mean
yeah,
Vengeance
the cognitive
especially.
overload.
Yeah, and that's why, yeah. But we can
Yeah, I
leave it
mean-
like this. We will have this. Where do we
Yeah, I
go?
mean, I think this is good. I mean, I'm personally happy with this. I don't know about you, Dorky. You're happy with this?
I think very close enough to the point where it's like you can put them in the same tier.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think it's only just like Vengeance is just, you know,
Yeah, I
it's
think
one
so,
above
we
all,
don't
right?
need
That's
to
like a clear
and-
step ahead.
yeah.
Okay, so now we're gonna get to something like kind of interesting. This is my Omega Scuffed Trinket. I mean, it is like a tier list, I guess, but like I don't know how to make it. We can also just talk about the trinkets, but people
Yeah.
like everyone is making tier lists, and people love tier lists. I was like, why not put them in a tier list? And then maybe more like which trinkets do you want to play in raid? And plus, I don't want to give it like I don't want to take like too much time going into this.
Yep.
But just like helping people because it's a very big topic with trinkets. Like which trinkets should I aim for as a tank going into 10.2? What is good? What is bad? I don't want to farm a dungeon if the trinket is not the best.
I can make this list really quick.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know. Do you want to start, Andy, or Dork want to start? I don't care who.
Well, Cheat Theft Trinket is, I think, has to be up there. Cheat Theft Trinket is just too powerful.
Yeah, that's the
It's-
slaps hard for sure.
yeah,
yeah,
both
that's the
in
one
raid
trinket
and
every
plus
tank
we
should be
can
going
agree
for.
on, right?
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
you want
yeah.
this. You like no matter what, like you raiding or in plus, you want this trinket as a tank.
Yeah, for
Yeah, like-
sure. You want this as a tank.
Yeah.
I mean, for most tanks, Cataclysmic Brand was like simming like as like basically your highest like DPS type of trinket. It did get nerfed recently though, so I'm
Only
I
10%
still
though. I don't
I
think it's
still
enough
think
to.
you want this. Yeah, like
Yeah, I'm
but
pretty
you
sure you
might
want this.
some tanks might want Augury instead. Like there's like a trifecta right now, which is so you have Signet Brand, you have Augury, and then you have Tainted Rage Heart, like the Farak Absorb trinket.
I mean, if you're
and
agility
s-
users, you also have Twisted Blades, right? I think.
I don't
is
think
that?
any one of them played that over those other
I
trinkets.
talked
so
with Rello, and I think he was excited about Twisted Blades. Maybe I don't know.
I don't know.
But yeah,
maybe
that's
I'm wrong
agility
then.
only. In
Maybe
that
that's
case.
maybe that's a brewmaster thing. I don't know. But
Yeah.
no, at least like yeah, I don't know. I think it depends on the tank. Like I think for example, Paladin originally wanted like Rage Heart over Augury. Like they wanted Rage Heart plus Brand.
But like to be
was like-
honest though, like you will never get Augury as a tank. I think. Like, will you ever like have prio on this trinket over a DPS player? I have a really hard
Yeah,
time.
but
like,
I mean, I don't think we should talk about that though, because then
I mean,
let's be honest, yeah.
think we should because
tanks
it's
are, like-
relevant. Like you will like, for example, I can see a tank getting Signet Brand because like you take a lot of
Really?
damage from this
Can you?
trinket. I mean,
I don't think
DPS
so.
play.
'Cause I think a lot of melees want it. So I
Yeah,
don't
but
think-
they also it depends because you do take a lot of damage. Like it's when I looked at logs with Signet Brand, it's a 2k damage per taken trinket. Take 2k every second from equipping this trinket, and it hits you between like 6 to 12k whenever you do damage. And I feel like it's the same with Sark Cloak, where like you will have some bad overlaps where like the trinket procs, you take damage and they take an ability from a boss and like you end up dying. That's why I feel like it could have potentially like tank prio over DPS prio in some cases. But like Augury, you would never give to a tank. Like I don't think you will ever see this trinket unless you're 3 months into farm.
Right.
I think it's relevant to like think about that when you like trinkets, but like maybe I'm wrong here, but I don't know. Dork, what do you think about like that aspect of like the trinkets as well? Where will you actually like get this trinket as a tank, for example?
Does it
I
do
think it
damage
depends on
back
what
to
type
you
of
though?
player you are.
I don't think Signet Brand does damage back to you. No.
Yeah, it does like above. What is it? It does 50. What is it? I can pull up Wowhead, but I literally I looked at
Oh
trinkets
yeah.
my prot
When you're
pala
above
last
5
night.
stacks, right?
Yeah, like I
It does
looked at
damage back to you.
Protpala last
yeah,
night,
yeah.
what trinkets I would potentially want to play, and then I saw this trinket and I wanted to see how much
When you
damage
say
it
it
did
does
to DPS.
2k back to you.
No, it
Oh.
does 2k per second effective DPS to yourself, but the hits
Right.
are between 6 to 12k depending on how many stacks you have. Average hit, I think, when I watched this trinket was like 8k. Every time you do damage, you take 8k. It's not like insane. But like if you get like
Yeah.
some 8k damage hits on top of a boss mechanic, there's a very high chance like that's gonna push you over the limit as a DPS player, especially during progress. Farm is like a different story, but that's
I
why
mean,
I
you're
feel
right,
like
but you know what DPS players are like, yeah. They sell
Yeah,
5k
I-
DPS
yeah,
for
I
their
know,
for their
I know.
grandma, yeah.
yeah, but
They're gonna, you know.
But I mean we can put both of them, but I mean that's only for raiding, right? Like would you ever play these in a plus setting? I don't. If you ask me, I would say no.
I
Or what do
mean,
you feel about?
I think. I mean, maybe you play it. I guess if you get it, because the thing is, Rage Heart is rare loot,
No,
right?
I'm not talking Rage Heart. Like let's talk Signet Brand and Augury for now. Only like damage trinket, right? No defensive benefit really.
Oh, yeah.
Just like damage trinket. Would you ever play one of these in a plus setting? Like I have a very hard time believing this. It would be like some tyrannical dungeon where only boss damage
Yeah.
matters, right? But that's very rare. I feel like.
I mean, yeah, I kind of agree with that. I would say.
So should we put like
Um,
both these, like brand and augury, like in really strong for raiding maybe? Because it's like
Yeah, yeah. I mean, for raiding, they're really good. Yeah,
yeah,
and it depends on the tank, like which one's them, but yeah, for the most part, they're both really strong.
yeah.
I'd say.
I don't know, Dorky, have you played with the Firax Tainted Rayshard? Anything when you played?
Yeah,
Plus?
it's basically the new blood splattered scale. I think it's probably I want to say like the default pick for M plus, but I could see
Mhm.
some other trinkets being decent. I would probably put it like pretty
I would put
close
it in
to
slaps hard for
stone
M plus.
scale.
I think it's broken for M plus. This trinket is so strong. I don't know if
Yeah,
Andy agrees with
yeah.
this,
I
but
was thinking probably the same.
I would play
Yeah,
this
I-
and cheat in every M plus dungeon almost. Like rare cases, you would maybe swap cheats or this for something else, but this would be like your always general go-to.
yeah, I think so as well. I think it's really really strong because I mean the problem is that there's no other real trinket other than this really that gives you still a good amount of damage while also giving you survivability as well.
Yeah, worth adding
Um,
though is like the damage part from this trinket did get nerfed recently, but
it
they
did,
buffed
yeah.
the
It's still
absorb instead. But like I would not play this trinket for the damage part of the trinket. I would play it as like the absorb in a plus. Like the damage part is like it adds value because it's nice with damage, but like the absorb is like another cooldown almost, or like oh shit, I dropped to 30% button.
thing is it's still really high though, the damage.
Yeah,
Like
I agree.
like the thing is before this change, this trinket it was actually simming as like one of the highest trinkets for most tanks. Like
Yeah, I think even as like
almost the
Havoc
highest.
Demon Hunter or something, this was like the highest seeming. I don't like it was like so like the damage was insane. I don't know, but yeah, even with the nerf, I think it's very very solid.
Yeah, for sure. No, I think this trinket's is a banger one. I mean that's why they've made it really rare though as well, I guess.
Yeah,
But yeah.
that's
Yeah,
like
that's
the
for the
issue.
last boss.
Yeah, last
Yeah,
boss
because it's also for the
very
last
rare
boss.
drop is like
Yeah.
gonna be a
Good luck
big
getting
issue.
it.
Where do you want to put it for raiding? Like really strong, I guess, for raiding. Like you wouldn't play this all the time, I guess, in raiding if you had it. Would you play it all the time as in raiding as well? Even maybe.
I would.
Yeah, I feel like on Prot Pala, I for sure would, but I don't know if like you're a really
I
strong
would love
tank,
this.
then yeah,
I would love this trinket for raiding personally.
yeah.
But
I guess yeah, both raiding and plus these trinkets, we can already figure out like what you want to go for this season as a tank. But let's look into like other options as well. I'm mainly curious about like trinkets you could get without that doesn't require too
What,
much
raiding?
effort.
Or-
Yeah, or like M
oh.
plus trinket or
Yeah,
something
for
you can
M
like
plus Andes.
farm. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So wait, do you have it there? There was like a decent DPS trinket from M Plus, which is the Razan's Gleaming Eye. I don't know if
Yeah,
you
I have.
that
Yeah,
there.
I have it here. Yeah, but that's strength only, right? I think.
Only strength, yeah. So it's only
Yeah.
for Pro Warrior, Pro Paladin, and Bloody K. But that
But
one does some pretty pog as well. It's
I would
pretty
put it
good.
like I wouldn't put it as high as like Ogre in category. I would put it like decent option,
No.
easy to get for raiding.
Yes. It's definitely like it's super easy to get.
Yeah.
And it's like it's actually not that far off the other like raiding trinkets.
Would you ever play this in a plus Dorky, you think? Would you slap this on a strength tank? I don't think so. Or?
I feel like I'd probably go for like a stat stick of some sort, but
Yeah,
yeah, I'm not
I
too
completely
sure.
agree. I would probably play Emerald Friendship Badge. I think that's a decent option. It's not easy to get though, because like I think a lot of people might want this trinket. But like if it was any trinket, I would want to replace like Firax Rage Shot for. Like Pips would be like I feel like a decent option because I would want stats in a plus, just like you said, and I don't know what other trinkets offer stats.
Pips is a pretty okay option, I would say. Yeah, it's like definitely not bad for like Mythic Plus.
For raiding, I don't think I would play this though as a tank.
Play what specifically?
Pips for
or-
raiding. Yeah.
No, I mean only if you had like nothing else really.
Yeah, exactly. Is there any other trinket that could be potentially like good for M plus? Maybe even a drops in M plus. What about like the Nightmare Eggshell or like Butcher Block?
Yeah, the eggshell is pretty decent stat stick for agility users.
Yeah.
Or like Demon Hunter, for example. And there's that one trinket from Dawn of the Infinite too, like a time scale, something like that. It's like an
The
agility trinket.
Sandglass, you mean?
Yeah, that one's like decent too for.
Isn't this one like
Demon Hunter.
awkward in M plus though? Doesn't it like it drop between packs?
Yeah, I'm not too sure.
Or like when you leave, I don't like I haven't played too much with it, but I remember like reading something like that. Yeah, I mean we could put it up there, I guess.
I'd probably say like eggshell is probably better. Yeah, it's just some.
Yeah, I mean I guess we can put it
M+
one tier
trinket.
below maybe. What about Butcher's Block?
Oh, yeah.
The thing is like for
Butcher's
me, I don't
Block?
know. Yeah, I don't know how you feel about like tanks, but when I tank, I would like way rather have a stat stick than a proc trinket and like any of the weak.
Yeah.
Do you just want like the same stats all the time, right? But I don't. Is there even like there's no option like that really, or this season? There's no like
Not as far as I know.
I mean, aside
Well,
from
actually,
tips-
there was like one mastery trinket. I think it was. I don't remember.
Oh, you're talking about the branch.
the with the box
No,
branch.
Like an on-use one that gives you mastery. Or are you talking
I can't remember off the top of my head.
Ember from DH. I mean, there is that one that's silences one from Blackroot Cold. That is a static with like main set and verse, right? The Ember
Yeah.
of Nullification. But I do think
I'm
it
not
has
sure if anyone would use
baseline.
that.
But yeah, it has baseline less
slightly
stats,
less,
right? Because it has to.
It has less main stat, yeah.
Yeah.
Not trinket.
But I do think like this trinket is actually not too bad. I'm gonna put it
But
in.
it's
It could
solid.
be we're like
It's
it's like yeah, and plus only though. Crab from TUT,
And
strength
porcelain.
verse and BRA. Yeah, that's the one we put in the Ember, I think.
Oh yeah, wait. Are you talking about the porcelain crab?
Oh, it might be bad.
Yeah. There's like a crab where your melee attack could be mastery and avoidance. I think it is.
Yeah, so it's strength or agility. Melee attacks have a chance to shed a limb, granting 1.2k mastery and 300 avoidance
That
for 20
trinket's
seconds.
actually not that bad. Like some, I think even when I last simmed it was pretty good AoE. A lot of tanks. This
Okay.
trinket.
I guess we'll put it in decent option / easy to get then. So I could. I mean, this is all subject to change, I guess, because we don't like 100% know, right? But
Yeah, I mean, you would never play this trinket in raiding, I don't think. But
no, of course
in a
not.
pl- in a plus, yeah, you could definitely play the crab. You have nothing else, I'd say. Like,
Would you
if
like-
have, like
So like looking at the raid right now, it's like only kind of like raid trinkets plus like rest suns. Is there any like other good raid option you could like quite easily obtain? I think that would be like decent. Like, isn't Midas decent if you're agility user?
yeah,
like
Oh,
Midas,
actually, yeah,
is,
it's not
Midas is
bad.
good for like
Yeah.
DH tank single target. It was
Yeah.
like doing pretty good damage.
Is there like anything
And,
else you
uh,
think
that
would
one.
be?
Well, you were right by the way about the apparently the Pisted Blades is pretty good for agility.
Yeah, I was because I talked to Relo yesterday and he said it was.
Yeah, it's not as good as like Brand or
Yeah.
Raid Shot, but it's like a tiny bit below.
The thing is,
Yeah.
like this string is not like easy. I guess if we put it a little bit here below because I don't know if it's easy to get or not. I don't know if any other people want this in the raid, but like as a tank, you don't get prio. I feel like over if a DPS player
Yeah.
wanted this one.
Kira says the idle trinket, the crafted one, is pretty good when you have all sockets.
Wait, which one is that? I don't have it on my list. I don't have crafted items actually on here.
Yeah, it's like some stat stick, I believe,
Okay.
that has like a chance to proc main
What was it
stat, I
called?
believe. Something idle.
Oh, yeah, it's just a crafted trinket. You have everything.
Idol of the
Uh,
Dreamer, I
Idol of
guess.
the-
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay, yeah.
I love the.
Yeah, that's like that's a trinket that is like has baseline haste, I guess, and then or whatever stat depending on what you can have everything. Yeah.
Yeah, there's like you can have different ones though. Like for
I guess I
this.
do a little like this and put it in. So what you would say is like decent for M plus, I guess. Decent option / easy to get maybe.
Yeah, something like that.
I do think that trinket must be bugged though in terms of how it sims.
But like the thing is like you wouldn't like really look at sims for M plus, right? You just need to slap something on that makes you survive and like I
No,
wouldn't
but
look at-
like when I last simmed it, it was like not giving you that much more damage than like a trinket that gave you 0 damage and just had main stat on it on the trinket.
Mhm.
So I do think there's something wrong with the APL or something. Something's
Okay.
not quite right.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, maybe it's better than what it looks at least.
Okay, I also wanted to like touch upon embellishments, but I actually like haven't looked into embellishments too much. I feel like we've been sitting here for like quite a long time now as well. Do you guys have like anything like just fast for embellishments for tanks? Something to like, that is looking solid or like something you recommend? I mean, I think we can all agree that like the plate legs that procs haste are probably like go-to for like tank or plate tanks in M+. That's like the one thing I would have to say. Like for raiding and
Yeah.
stuff, people are still saying like play Shadow Flame patch, but I don't know.
Mhm.
Like I'm not feeling like playing. I would rather play like the chest that gives proc verse to the raid than to play Shadow Flame at this point. I feel like I don't know with the nerfs and everything.
Yeah, all the
Yeah.
embellishments are pretty dog shit.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think
I do think the
pretty
haste
much-
legs are like pretty solid though for M+. I don't know if that's like Leather have something similar to those.
No, not really. But I mean, as you said before, like the verse chest. I mean, that could also be nice.
What about
Yeah, I mean,
Lariat?
Shadow
do you think?
Flame. Nah, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of Lariat, honestly.
Mhm.
I mean,
I think Lariat is pretty decent when you have like Biscuit and sockets. I don't know. I even like played it even like MDI. I think on my prot pool last season. I don't think it's too bad, but yeah, I mean we will have to see about like embellishments because I haven't really looked into it. I just know like if
Yeah,
for damage
mean-
they just tell me double Shadow Flame still.
yeah,
but-
yeah. So for most tanks, you still just go, the same old double Shadow Flame just for damage.
Mhm.
But then obviously, like it does feel bad because damage, while it is like much better than the other options, isn't like that insane. And then also it's the fact that you are like dealing more damage back to yourself than you were before as well. With Shadow Flame. I mean, it's not an insane amount, but you know, it's still something. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Embellishments themselves is just like a weird system, I guess.
Yeah,
Like
I agree.
there are like multiple things you can go still. I mean, you could play Spore Cloak, I guess. Although even though it got nerfed, it's kind of like meh. But I don't know. It just feels weird because like if you don't go for like the damage embellishments, every other embellishment just feels like meh. Like I don't know. That it
Yeah.
doesn't exactly feel good.
I'm just gonna like put my point out there and just be like thought about. I would probably rather play the verse chest, give my raid verse over playing like the flame for myself
Right.
after nerfs and everything.
And then
But yeah, I mean we'll just
and
see
then,
about
yeah,
it. I don't think like the thing is like bottle like it doesn't really matter too much because everything is so nerfed now. So like sure you wanna craft the best thing, right? But like even if you craft something that is worse, I don't think it's gonna hurt you that much because everything is kind of shit now. I don't feel like there's
Right.
anything that I'm like, oh, I really want this. You know?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think it just depends on what items you're like have in general, right? Like
Yeah.
depending on what tier you have and stuff like that. But yeah, I think there's like lots of potential options that you could go.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see about it. I have a
the-
question for
the-
Dorki now. Oh, do you want to talk more about embellishments?
Yeah, there was like this really cool helm that was
The
like
helm is a
super
meme.
sick.
I swear the helm is a meme.
But
I
it
don't...
got nerfed though. No, it was good. But then they just like randomly were like, I don't know, we're gonna nerf this. I don't know, it feels really weird. Like I feel like Blizzard didn't really know what to do with embellishments because they had this kind of choice to make them like really strong and impactful, and then they just like nerfed like every single time something was
Yeah.
good, they just nerfed it. I don't know.
It's because
That's
it's easier to nerf one thing than to buff 10 others, you know, usually how...
No, but it's like I think they just removed the system then.
Yeah, I mean, they still want to have crafting being relevant, I guess. That's the reason, right?
Yeah, but we probably had something envisioned, and then it was like, oh, maybe it didn't really turn out how we wanted it to be.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like they really wanted to bring crafting back into the game, and this was like their one, you know, what they wanted to do with it. Like have people actually, you know, craft stuff and
Right.
it being impactful. But like Dorki said, it probably like didn't fully know like how to execute it. It became like because now is that like you need 2 embellishments because it will be a DPS increase, but like you don't really, you know, like I'm not gonna craft this season and be like, holy fuck, I finally got my Shadow Flame. I'm gonna, you know, do a lot more damage now, you know, like I'm not gonna have that. I need to play these 2
Right.
items and just lose item level on these 2 pieces because it's still better. That's kind of how I feel about it.
Yeah, no, it is weird.
Okay, Dorki, a question for you. Do you have any potential wild card, you think, for M+? Do you think something like could just be, you know, popping, apart from Vengeance emotes, I guess?
Boomkin. Oh,
Boomkin?
I mean,
No,
Prow Warrior is probably
Boomkin.
the closest. You know, like how Prow Warrior would just be a similar situation to Neltharian's Lair, where you might just like see it pop up here and there.
Mm-hmm. What about DK
But
with like the
aside from that,
legendary?
really not.
Yeah, you don't think? like,
Yeah,
it
I mean, I
could?
guess sure, but okay. So here's my theory. Every single two-handed class right now, or two-handed strength class, kind of sucks. They're all
Yeah.
prepping for the
That is
OPness
true.
of the legendary. Yeah, it's like it's all planned. It's literally
Mad,
scripted
yeah,
by
but
Blizzard.
you're so right. Because like every playthrough, you didn't even think about this.
Yeah, all the DK specs suck. Warrior kind of sucks. Red
It's
Paladin
really mid.
sucks. Nope.
Maybe it will just suddenly become the new Vengeance. Holy fuck, it'd be fun. Do you have any wildcards?
Yeah, you made a
do you think?
mistake.
I mean, not really. I feel like, I mean, to me, the meta's kind of like, I mean, obviously it does depend on like your overall grip comp, yada yada, but I just feel like Vengeance is so oppressively strong. No other tank can really compete with it in a way. I personally don't believe the hype in Pro Paladin for M+. I do think you will struggle defensively compared to Vengeance Pro Warrior.
Mhm.
I believe, as Dorki just said, I think you could play Pro Warrior in certain keys, like if if Reflect was like really good and you really needed it to time like the next key level up, just like how, I mean, you guys, for example, timed, what was it, 30 Northarians there, tyrannical, right, in competition?
Yeah,
Was it
yeah,
30?
I think it was.
I can't remember.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
it was.
I think it was
30.
30, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just like that, right? Like, I think you could see the exact same thing happening again. So yeah, I really see you only playing 2 tanks, to be honest with you, for like the highest keys.
Yeah. No, I
Um,
mean I agree. Like, there's no reason to bring Protpala ever for M+ right now when Vengeance is this strong.
Yeah, I mean, so the only thing that people talk about a lot is obviously the fact that, if Holy Paladin is not good, Prop Paladin, could
Yeah,
be
but
maybe
like,
seeing
you
because
could live
you,
without Diva Aurora. Like that's what I.
yeah, right, like because you want Diva Aura in the group.
Yeah, it's
Um,
4%.
And I
Yeah,
mean,
I
there
mean,
are some scary one-shot bosses, so like maybe, but I don't know, dude. I feel like you just find a way without it,
yeah.
Um,
I mean, we managed, wasn't it in last season Shadowlands, where everyone was like, survival is gonna be Omega flooring, and people still found a
right.
way to survive, with survival. Like
It,
I feel like everything is possible if you try.
exactly. Like I don't believe in this whole like, oh, you have to have Devil Aura or you can't do the
Yeah.
key, sort of
Yeah, I
thing.
feel the same with Mark of the Wild, but like Dorki, for example, I know it's like a super big like Mark of the Wild fan, I think. And I feel like Mark of the Wild you could like definitely play without. Sure, it like helps you, but like
Well, it's more that it brings a lot of value to your group.
yeah,
Because
I
like
agree.
it's again like the same situation as like if your group doesn't have Mark of the Wild, and there's a class that's like good enough, then you absolutely want to have that Mark of the Wild. Like say Boomkin, right? Like if Boomkin is only slightly bit worse than Mage. Well, actually, Mage is a bad example because they have Marking Intellect. But say Boomkin is a little bit worse than Rogue. I feel like that Mark of the Wild really brings up Boomkin by a lot.
Yeah, I feel like it just depends on your overall group comp. Because I'm pretty sure, like Andy, for example, like season 1, you played without a boomkin, I think, right? Season 1, you play like
Season
rogue
1 what?
enhancement.
What?
No,
Dragonflight?
dragonflight. Yeah, you play, but
No,
you
they play
play
with
like.
mechanics.
No, we play
Oh,
with
yeah, you
Kings.
did play, but
We play with
some,
Boomkin.
some groups
Yeah.
for sure play without druid, or and it wasn't like.
Yeah,
Some
it
didn't,
was.
Like
Who
Nerf's
was that
group.
again?
Was it
They
nerf group maybe
had
that played?
Shadow Priest Fire Mage.
Yes. No. It was Drogo's group. They played. Yeah, they played Shadow Priest, right?
Well, they
Yeah.
played with Goop on Boomkin.
I feel like
but
it
they
matters
didn't always play
less
with group. I think they played
on
with
like
some
DPS
Shadow Priest
players
guy.
than tanks, like the raid buff. But.
Oh, I'm wrong.
But even then, like you say that, and then like for example, I played like my red pala in this season, and then like instead of the mage, right? And like even though my
Yeah.
damage wasn't like really bad as the red, it was not as good as mage. You just lost so much time. I swear, due to arcane intellect, due to the evoker and like the shadow priest doing less, And it was just
Yeah.
felt so bad, like how like crazy someone like 5% in like int on like, especially if we play like a triple caster, right? Like it's so powerful, it's so strong, even on the healer. It's I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, so like I want to go on like this is a bit of a meme one, but I want like both of you. I will give you like a minute to think. I want you to make the possible worst and plus comp you could think about, like tank, 3 DPS, and 1 healer. I'll give you a minute to think about it,
Okay.
and then we will see what you come up with. Okay, like the absolute like I would not want to be in this group, and then we see what I will think as well, and then we'll see what we come up with. Okay.
Does it have to be? Does it matter if like 3 of the specs or of like or 2
No,
of the
but like
specs of the same
don't
class?
bring like 3 or like
No.
that's gonna
I
be
mean
horrible,
like no. I don't mean that. I mean like does it matter like for example, like give it away, but if I have 2 specs from the same class.
Yeah, you can have that for sure. Like,
Okay,
like
okay.
org is like 3, I think.
Yeah.
Oh,
Of
bro,
course,
this
of
is an
course.
easy one. What the hell?
Yeah, I've got it.
Yeah.
Like, can I go first?
Yeah, sure, go for it.
Wait, are you ready, Robin?
I'm
Yeah,
ready,
he's
go
probably
for it.
taking a poop, but he's good. Yep.
Okay.
I'm
He's good.
ready.
So tank would be Guardian Druid.
Yep.
Healer would be Resto Shaman.
Okay, I have the same thing.
Yeah. And then DPS would be Shadow Priest.
Yep, I have the
And then
same thing.
And then I would have, I think I would have Survival Hunter. And then
Okay.
I would probably go with Destro Warlock. Actually, no.
Okay, I had the same thing.
Yeah. I think Destro Warlock, yeah.
Yeah, I had Windwalker instead of
Oh, yeah,
Survival.
Windwalker instead of Survival.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I mean, the fact that we agreed on like 4 of the same classes just goes to show like everyone knows who the clear losers are.
Yeah. Okay, now I'm being flamed for picking Survival Hunter, apparently.
I was surprised, actually. I was going to say, I think survival is going to be pretty
I
good.
think it's good.
Yeah, like the damage is good, no?
I mean,
People are like, I think like
mean,
I was playing
okay.
with, I swear, didn't Gingy play survival in like, was
he
it
did,
BM? I don't know, but
yes,
like
he
I
did,
swear they
yeah.
pump.
Gingy's like always like saying, "Oh yeah, Feral's gonna be really, really good."
Oh,
Oh,
yeah, he's on some copium with Pharaoh. I don't know what the hell.
He's
he was
always on
thinking.
Yeah, I
copium,
don't know.
yeah.
But the man was really sitting on target damage on PTR for 3 days, like competing with other specs. Like I don't know how he does it, but like
Okay,
it's
okay.
insane.
I mean, maybe I'm wrong then about Survival Hunter, okay? But I mean, the
Yeah,
other
it
4,
is.
like, I'm very certain, absolutely.
Yeah, Windwalker definitely takes the cake over Survival.
I would say like I would agree with
Okay,
like
I mean, that
Resto
could be fair,
Shaman.
yeah.
I don't even know like because they still bring Bloodlust, So like I would like want to find a healer that's like really shit that doesn't even bring Bloodlust. But like
Holy
I would maybe
Priest, I
say like
guess.
Holy Priest, Guardian
Yeah.
Druid, and just like shit specs so you have like no utility. Like Shadow Priest, Fury Warrior and Arms Warrior. Something like completely demon. You have like not you straight up
Yeah.
have nothing, in your group. Nothing benefits the other. That would be like I said, it's true demon comp.
There has to be
in my
as
eyes.
little kicks as possible too. That's another thing.
Yeah,
So
but like
Shadow Priest is
warriors
good
are
for that.
just and like warriors just like they just don't bring anything, because they don't even want to stormbolt. Because like I don't know, it's just awkward.
True.
My rotation, I don't know. It's
I mean, they don't even spec into they're called
Shockwave.
Shockwave either.
yeah. It's I don't know. Like I feel like even if like some specs are bad, you could kind of make it work if you have like a decent comp. But if you just have a demonic comp that has no utility and like nothing going for it, you would just like suffer so much. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I mean, I definitely agree.
Okay.
But
Yeah, you go.
it is kind of interesting that we can like easily pick out what are the worst classes. So I do
It's way
feel
easier
like
to pick the
that's,
shit ones or the
yeah.
best ones, I swear.
Yeah, I mean that's what they need to address. They need to be like working on these classes that we mentioned.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, some specs are just like so demonic. I don't know. The thing is, like, I would agree with like Destruction Warlock, for example, but as a tank, like, they have pretty like solid utility, and that's like what I'm thinking. Like, if I would
Yeah.
bring a demonic spec, I would bring something like Warrior has kick, but like it brings nothing. Like it brings a Stormbolt and a kick. I guess a fear, but like it's one of the worst like utility unless
I
you play
guess a fear.
Shockwave. Yeah, but like
Yeah, target
it's-
capped at 60 second or 90
Yeah,
second cooldown.
it's all right. I wanted to like round off with some chat questions potentially if like we have some good ones. I haven't really been looking like too
Sure.
much if we have some solid ones, but maybe if there's something they feel like they wanna know that we have missed. Could also be like meme questions by all means for any chat. Feel free to ask, and then we'll see. We can like pick a few each maybe. If you find a good one in your chat, feel free to just go for it.
I have a question.
Mhm.
How this is a contentious one. How valuable do you guys think Sigil of Chains is?
I'm not gonna play too much with. It's like it really depends on each dungeon. I feel like because for
Yeah.
me, I feel like the CDR on sigils is so strong, and I feel like you have to choose between that and grip sigil. That's like your
I personally-
flex point.
I personally think the range of it is a little bit surge, and also I think like you give up like other talents that are it's kind of hard to take Sigil of Chains and kind of like be happy because you lose important other things. Like I don't know, you have to trade kind of a lot to take it.
What do you feel, Dorki? Since you asked, would you play?
Yeah, so personally, I do value Sigil of Chains a lot just because I feel like it ties into this whole like if you can keep the mobs well stacked, if you're the one controlling the mobs, then it makes it so much easier for your group to do damage. I think it
Yeah.
depends on the dungeon. It's like say you're doing Dawn of the Infinite, for example, there's not a whole lot of usages for this, especially because like the poles are kind of small and there's not a whole lot of like mobs that are spread. But in like Black Rokehold, for example, I think Grip Sigil has crazy good value, especially with like the archers jumping out and like having to stop scouts and trying to keep
Also like the
mobs grouped up.
spinner
Because,
boys fixating people and stuff, like
Yeah,
slowing them. in
right.
groups. Yeah, I can see that for sure.
because like
Yeah, that's something nice.
if you have a pull that goes so much cleaner, you probably save like say 10 seconds that like no other talent can really save in that specific pull, or like maybe it makes a really hard pull significantly easier, and then suddenly that just like has infinite value, and there's no other talent in the world that has the same amount of value. So I
Yeah.
think it depends on the dungeon.
I think we all agree on that. I have a question for Dorky. People are like curious. Are you gonna try and push rank 1 raid Raya score with Asman Gold?
Oh, dude, that'd be sick. I would love to, or at least do a title push. That'd be insane. Imagine we have Asmund play Pro Warrior, and then I play Boomkin or something, and we go for a rank 1 title. Holy moly!
Would you like give up the tanking spot for Asman Gold? Would you like let him send
Oh,
the pot for
absolutely.
you?
Yeah. I'd be like
Okay.
the Boomkin, and I'd just be the Gingy of the group.
Wait, I have a question for my chat. What would you guys rate the dungeon difficulties? Like, what would you rate each dungeon difficulty?
That's a good question. I feel like some are like quite easy, and some are just like.
Yeah.
I feel like it's mainly like for me right now. It's like an experience issue where I feel like Dawn and stuff is like really really hard. But I feel like this because the entire group has not figured the dungeon out. Meanwhile, like Atal is just like face roll because it's an old dungeon and you know what you're doing. But like maybe
True.
Dawn will be like not too bad once you actually like know everything and exactly how to deal with all the mechanics. But I don't know. I feel like Atal is like really easy, and I think Everbloom is really like. I mean, it might be rough on like higher keys maybe. Like the third boss is like kind of rough, and like the 3 mobs before the like third boss. But apart from that, I don't feel like it's too bad either. But apart from that, I will be like the Dawn dungeon that are like they feel rough for me at least. I don't know what you guys feel.
Yeah, it's like let's see. Easy is Atal, Waycrest, Black Cold.
But you remember, Waycrest is not that easy though. Like I don't know if I agree
Well,
with this.
okay, so I mean, it's easy relative to. Well, hold on. So actually, there's like new
To the key level, it's easy.
hotfixes.
Is what he's trying to
Yeah,
say.
yeah, relative. Yeah,
Okay,
relative.
yeah.
To the key level.
Yeah.
In terms of like how the key is to the time and all that is easy. But yeah, in terms of execution, it's definitely a little bit harder. The biggest wall that Waycrest has, at least like last time on PTR, was the tree boss. The tree boss is real rough.
Yeah, they buffed
But
the shit out of that guy.
yeah, the thorns.
Yeah.
The hard ones were like Throne of Tides, especially if you don't have a Demon Hunter in your group. Everbloom. The last two boss, well, not the last, but the middle two bosses are omega hard. And same with Upper Dawn, so Murazon's Rise. The Lower Dawn is actually not too bad. I felt like that one was pretty okay.
Andy, do you have anything you feel you could add?
Yeah, I mean, you already said it, but like Dawn of the Infinite was like really hard. I mean, yeah, I personally think the hardest dungeon as a tank will probably be Throne of the Tides, I think.
Are we talking about like for a tank or for like the general group? 'Cause
True. I mean, his question was general dungeon difficulty.
Okay, yeah.
So I guess yeah, you're right. But yeah, I would say it's probably. I mean, the only thing to add to what you said, because I kind of agree with what you said about Atoll and Waycrest and all those dungeons. I think yeah, the only real thing is Everbloom and Throne. I think are just going to be considerably harder. Because Dawn did get nerfed a lot. So I mean, I myself, I don't know how much harder Dawn is than the other dungeons now. I'd have to like go back and play more. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean that sounds good. Did you guys see any other questions? I actually didn't look. Healer prediction. Healers are cringe. Who cares? Or
I don't think there's a healer that stands out.
actually, yeah, I actually agree.
honestly
Like
have
some
no
that
idea
are.
what the hell. Yeah, there is no vengeance DH of healers.
There is a Guardian Druid of healers though, and that's Resto
Yeah,
Shaman.
yep.
But it's why
That is
are they
true.
always like shit specs and never like it's way more common to have these fucking dog shit specs, but like not the good ones.
I don't know. Resto Shaman is beyond dog shit though. It's actually sad.
Okay, here's a question: do you guys believe in Mistweaver?
I think it's cope. I
For
mean,
high keys,
Copium?
I mean, it doesn't bring in like I will have to see it more. I think until I will. It does bring this AoE stun and ring and stuff, but maybe it will be good.
I think the
don't know.
damage and the healing would have to just be absurdly high to really play it over lots of other things.
Yeah,
You know, there'd have to be a big gap. I don't know if there is that gap. There might be. I'm not sure. I don't know enough about it, so I refrain from like,
I
really
feel like
saying
it will
anything.
take like. Cause isn't like Mistweaver like really different from like what most healers are used to playing? Like, isn't it just like a like if you're playing like a Disc Priest and you go onto a Mistweaver, it's gonna take you a lot of time to get used to a Mistweaver. I don't feel like you cannot just swap to a Mistweaver and like perform well. I don't know.
I heard it was easy, so I don't actually know.
Oh, is it? Because I like you're also like I don't know how tanky Mistweaver is, but that was like the main issue with like Holy
Yeah.
Paladin. Like if you're a melee healer, it's always like worse than being a ranged healer in a plus, right? But if you're
Except
like
except
tanky,
for recently, right, with Holy Paladin, with how like I mean, last patch Holy Paladin was a fucking brick, dude.
yeah, but they were so tanky. Like even if they got hit,
Yeah.
but like they didn't die, you know?
Yeah, they
Because
didn't die. Yeah.
Plate with a shield. I could like imagine like Brackenhide. You're healing in melee as a Mistweaver, then you get one fix it, one melee, and I could just see you dying. Like I don't know how tanky they are, but like a Prot Paladin or a Holy Paladin, you know, he would live that, right? But if Mistweaver is tanky, it has to be tanky for me to like believe in it in a plus, I guess, because it is melee. You want to be in melee. So,
Yeah.
and it's more like for me, it's more like tanky baseline and not like has a lot of
You have to like
cooldowns.
press stuff to live. Yeah.
Yeah, because like it's
The
more
odd-
of
Oh, sorry.
yeah. I was
Keep
just gonna say that like it's more of these like you need to survive these like oopsie moments, like where you get hit by something or something goes wrong, and you don't get like one shot.
Yeah.
That Protpala had pretty much.
No, the only thing I will say is that you definitely want to play a healer that has like disease/poison dispel or both,
True.
because there's like a lot of like diseases and poisons that are like really needed. For example, like disease on what is it? The Lord and
Waycrest
Lady
Trinket?
Waycrest is
Oh,
like
yeah,
really
obviously,
needed.
yeah.
I would say
Yeah.
there's like quite a few, and Everbloom as well.
What does any healer have
yeah, it's
poison
actually
and
crazy.
disease? Because priest
Yeah.
has like
Yeah,
disease but not poison, right? And
That's
like
Paladin and Monk has that.
Paladin and monk, okay.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
evoker people are saying, or
No, Evoker. Well, Evoker's poison, and then he can like get anything with Cauterize, but
oh
yeah,
that's
you
not
can,
really
you can
yeah.
get rid of. Yeah,
Yeah.
it doesn't really count though.
Yeah, so I mean, if monk has both poison and disease, I mean that's looking pretty solid.
Yeah,
I would say for
it's definitely nice. Yeah.
that's actually a major consideration. Like I don't really think about that. Like you
Yeah.
really do need a disease and
Yeah,
poison spell in your group, or
you
it's
do.
fucked.
For sure,
I
yeah.
mean, I knew when I talked about
Um,
Protball, I of course put that into consideration. You know, the
Bro.
disease spell for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if you think about it, like out of the good classes right now,
This
like
guy,
you're
dude.
certainly not gonna have in your Havoc. Your Aug is only gonna have poison. Your
Yeah, that's
Vengeance.
Right,
no,
exactly.
like yeah, of course I consider that.
Yeah.
You know?
You were the one that brought it up. Aren't you?
Yeah. I mean, I don't need, you know, I gotta keep some cards for myself, you know.
True.
No, but I do think it's like really important though.
Okay, I actually have an
and it might
interesting.
influence healer.
Yeah, I have an
Same.
interesting question. What do you guys think is gonna
Yeah.
be this season's like weekly +20 key you wanna do just to get to chest?
Oh, you mean like the dungeon?
Yeah, like
Yeah,
like on your old, like you wanna
Wayquest
do
or
a
Wayquest or what do you call it? The Legion one.
So,
Roman's name.
Naowh?
oh, Blackrock Gold.
Blacker Code, yeah.
Wait, Black really? I feel like
Yeah, it's
Blackrock's kind
kind
of
of
easy,
easy.
actually.
It's really easy, yeah.
okay. I would have said like Atal for sure. Like that feels like the new weekly. Like
Atal.
looking for +20 Atal weekly. You know.
I mean, yeah, it's okay weekly. I do think it's well, at least on like the hierarchies, it's definitely slightly harder than like I don't know. Or at least I feel like Waycrest is like easier. At least.
I would also say it's a little execution heavy in it all. Because, like, imagine if you go into a pug group and then they have to deal with the Juggernaut charging and the
but-
Yeah.
fires going off,
Fights going off, and then
one sound
guess.
mantles.
there's a lot of important kicks as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's also,
I
like,
don't know.
the boss. Like, maybe people will struggle with a Volcal a little bit. I'm not too sure.
The thing is, like in what do you call it, Black Record, like a lot of things are kind of just like either stops or it's just tank damage.
I feel like
Yeah.
Black
So-
Cold has some like pretty nasty stuff as well though. Like I don't know if you don't have good AoE stops on like these mobs that cast and
Yeah, that's the
transform into
only
stuff.
area. The scouts and the
Yeah,
the
like
archers,
the scouts and the
right?
archers as well. I feel like it has some, and then like the fixate and like all
Yeah.
the kick. Like yeah, sure, it's like not too bad, but like it's still you know. I feel like most dungeons have like something that could be like you know kind of annoying in a pug group.
In a pug. Yeah.
Like you don't have this. Like I missed this. What's it called? The one in the free one in season 1, Shadow and
What,
Burial Grounds. You know, like that one. You know, you just love it as a
Yeah.
weekly key. Just go in and blast fast. I don't know.
Yeah, you don't quite have that really anymore. I mean, I don't know though. Maybe one of the Dawn of the Infinite dungeons is like that now since the nerfs, because they have been nerfed. So
That must be the
Yeah, I
first
mean-
one, though.
yeah,
Like-
Galakrond's 4. I
Yeah.
doubt that would be Murason's race with how that was before.
I don't think like I saw you guys playing that one dragon in MDI though. It didn't look that efficient.
The dragon,
Mm-hmm.
but we ninja pulled it, dude. What are you saying?
Oh, who was it? who had it fat ass?
Oh, it was Ryzen, I think. He had a fat
Oh,
ass.
no.
Not a very good pug dungeon, huh?
Yeah, I guess you commit to playing the
man.
dragon.
I did hear though that apparently they've changed the count in
Yeah,
some
they did, yeah.
dungeons.
yeah, I mean
today.
you would know, right?
You're gonna hold this against me now.
I mean you just got a world first, bro. I gotta meme you a bit, like missing count
Yeah,
twice in the same tournament.
Yeah,
That's
okay.
you know.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
But
here's
yeah,
the
it
question.
might not be your fault at all. You know, like 'cause
can't,
the
can't be
only
as bad as the bats in
the
Sangha
only
House,
common
too bad.
factor
That was
between
pretty good.
like Maris he's the only one who's like he's the master of missing count now because he's been you know he was with you guys
Okay, like-
miscount twice with us miscount. So
The Everbloom was a ninja pull into us trying to do count on the fly, and then we had it, and then our mob just didn't snap, and then we didn't have it because it didn't snap for whatever reason.
but
I don't
even if
know
you
why.
had it, it didn't really look super sick running back there, leaping down, and you know. But yeah, it
no,
was a
it
bit
didn't,
unfortunate.
It didn't. Yeah, it was a bit unfortunate.
Where was the other one? I don't even remember which one it was.
It was
was
Dark
the-
Art Ticket.
Oh yeah, the run back to the yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that was like we were trying to do like 2 different routes at the same time on the fly, and I mean that you could say is like partly my bad, partly Mirrors' bad. I'll take 60%.
Are you taking the
For that
blame?
one.
It's okay. Takes a big
Yeah,
man to take the blame.
I'll take 60% blame.
Okay, and then who is
I'd
the other one?
say.
Maris 40 or what?
I think Mirrors takes 40. Yeah,
Oh, okay. He is an officer in your guild, as letting you know.
yeah, but yeah.
All right. Do you have any other questions? Because I am like starving. I didn't have dinner yet, and it's 10 in the evening. I should have eaten before I realized. But do you have
Alright, one
any
more
other
question.
questions? Sure, send it.
Do you guys think Havoc and Vengeance can be played in the same group?
Yeah, of course. I think like with how that is a thing. Obviously it's not insane if you overlap utility. Like obviously you want to kind of like have like lots of different things that but I don't think it matters with how strong both those specs are. Like they're
Do you
just so
feel though
strong that it doesn't really matter. I feel like.
if Havoc takes a nerf and it's just like really good, like very good damage, but like other classes do similar damage, so I
Yeah,
think
you'll
Havoc is
play something
out.
else.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think like
Havoc will go out the window
yeah,
for sure,
yeah.
and you'll play something else.
But I feel like I wouldn't. I would personally not want to be a Havoc Demon Hunter like right now if my goal was like M plus, because I feel like you never want to be the broken spec, because that's always the one that gets nerfed. You want to be the one that is like just under the radar, that's like really good, but like not the best. You know, like enhancement, boomkin, mage, even rogue, I guess maybe that are like really solid, and people are I don't know about like warlocks and stuff, but that could be brought to M plus, but it's not, because everyone is just talking about Havoc, how broken it is, and how much damage it's doing, and like if anything is getting nerfed, it's gonna be Havoc.
Right.
So yeah, I would be a little bit worried if it was a Havoc.
No, I mean I agree. Yeah, I mean yeah, pretty much what you said. I mean honestly, maybe yeah. I mean obviously Havoc right now is like very oppressively strong. And yeah,
Yeah.
I do think if it takes a slight nerf, even if it's slightly above some other specs, like damage wise, you still might just drop it, right? Like if you're gonna play Vengeance, because you'd much rather bring something else that just offers more. Even if it's slightly lower damage, you might just do that. So yeah, it's in a yeah, risky spots for sure.
Yeah, I mean, do you guys have anything else?
No, that's all I have.
No, I mean, I think that's pretty much it. Do you guys want to talk about like what you guys think the overall comp would be?
Okay.
Yeah, I guess we could. Like the
Like,
meta comp, you mean?
yeah, like obviously we talk about tank. Like we both agree that, or we all agree that we think Vengeance is going to be most likely the M plus meta tank, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like what DPS slash healer do you think we will play with? Obviously healer, like we talked about briefly, that like we could be lots of things, right?
Yeah.
But just like as an example comp, what would you guys?
I'm pretty like certain on this one already. I do think Havoc
Okay.
is gonna get nerfed.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay.
And I would say Vengeance, and then you would play.
Well, but who's to
Boom.
say Vengeance is not going to get nerfed?
No, I mean, yeah, maybe. I think it's a higher
Okay,
chance
go
of
on.
Havoc getting nerfed than Vengeance, though.
True.
Just like, but I would say Vengeance, and then you would play Boomkin, Mage, Org.
Boomkin. Okay.
Yeah, I think Boomkin is sick. I don't know. Boomkin, Mage,
It's my time to
Org,
shine.
and then you could potentially like flex maybe Rogue or Shaman. I think they're solid options, but I would like go to be like Mage, Boomkin, Org, I think, and then
Okay.
Healer. I mean, I guess Mistweaver, but potentially even like
Yeah, it has
Disc, I
to be,
guess would
right?
be. I mean, Mistweaver is like the
Obviously,
one that's
obviously.
if you need a poison and disease dispel, it would have to be a Mistweaver, right? I guess Druid
Right.
and Evoker will help. But like the Mistweaver or Disc, I guess. One of those.
Only thing that's potentially scary is there's not a lot of kicks in that comp. It's just Vengeance, Boomy, Mage, Og. And
Yeah,
just
but
brief.
Mistweaver would have kick, right? In that case.
Yeah. Like it would have to be a Mistweaver for a kick.
Yeah. But like the thing is, like you have so many silences, you would only really struggle if there's like one target you can't silence that casts like very frequently.
Yeah, it would be like one of those situations where you have
Maybe
to
like
get
Everbloom,
kicks.
I guess,
Yeah,
right?
like
the
Everbloom,
triple
that's
kick.
3. Yeah, that would
Yeah.
probably be like kind of pain with that comp.
It'd be very scary.
Yeah. You'd have to let like a lot through and like coordinate external slash big defensives or something.
Yeah.
Dorki, do you have anything in mind? I think meta comp.
I was actually thinking almost the same thing. Boomkin Mage seems insanely good. I mean, Rogue's also pretty insanely good.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty
I
much
mean,
just
we all
three
know like
DPS, I
Havoc
guess.
is that's gonna be like the never done yet. I'm just like thinking that I don't know. It's my evil. I don't know. Also, it's because I usually don't enjoy playing with Havoc because they're like Omega Sug Brain.
True.
Yeah.
It is painful.
They just go in and they pop all their cooldowns within the first 2 seconds, die to aggro, and then they flame the tank. Yeah, I don't know. Not the biggest Havoc fan, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I think how it is right now, I would probably go with like Vengeance, Havoc, Augmentation. I think you'd much rather have a Mage than a Boomkin. I'm not 100% sure on this yet though.
Yeah,
And then
what
I
about
think you'd
healer in that
play.
case?
I think you'd play a Holy Paladin as well.
That's interesting. Holy Palace.
Um,
I thought like all the Holy Palace told me that they are unplayable. They're so
Yeah, a
bad.
lot of people said that, but I have seen some on PTR kind of like banging quite hard, and it doesn't look bad at all. So I don't know.
What do you think like melee comp could see like a return this season? Like I'm thinking like
But
Rot Warrior, like of course you have to play an Org, but like Rot Warrior, Enhancement Shaman, maybe like
And
like
Rogue.
Rogue, yeah, and like
Yeah.
Org, and then I guess Mistweaver in that case. I don't know. Like, do you think that could be like the Sug comp? What was it the last time I had a
Yeah.
Sug comp? When was that? That was in.
I think if you could manage stops for certain balls, that could be viable. Yeah, for sure.
It does have a lot of stops that come, so it's not too bad.
Yeah, it
Like
has a lot
Yeah.
of
AoE Prowl, your
stops, but
enhancement sweeper, lots of AoE
yeah,
stops.
Right.
and Rogue. I mean, Rogue also has a lot of.
Yeah, I mean,
That would be interesting for sure. I think just send a Sug and just blast through. That's not a big pull comp. I feel like that's like a cleave comp. Like probably wouldn't work in some dungeons with pulling 20 mobs maybe, but just like Wing through the dungeon and like cleaving shit down, it would be pretty sick. I think.
yeah. No, I mean, I can see that working. Yeah, I think that's a nice idea, to be honest.
And then you have your potpourri, Andy. Sug.
Yeah. I mean, as you guys said though, maybe the legendary will fuck things up though, and maybe some big cock two-handed strength user will
Holy
just be
fuck!
like,
Let's go red.
True.
yeah. I mean, we'll have to
Actually,
see, I
red
guess.
utility is not that bad for M+. I have to say it. It's just like a worse Holy Paladin. It's like a Holy Paladin in terms of utility without AM, I guess.
I mean, I think red is like it's good. It just doesn't have the damage that's like good for M+. Like the fact that you have to choose between Divine Storm and Templar's Verdict, and
But you have like
it not really excelling at anything in particular.
you do have prio damage though if you actually don't play the pad build and you play like the single target build where like you build up stacks with your what's it called, the talent? Like you get to 40 stacks and like it does AoE when you do your single target ability. It ain't like I
But
don't
can
know.
you cleave properly in that?
Yeah, I mean when so you would like Divine Storm, but it stacks up like really fast. And it's still better to like a Divine Storm for AoE, but using that for prio damage still does AoE. It's like maybe like 60% of a Divine Storm, let's say, but like really sick prio.
Interesting, yeah.
I'm really curious about something. Could everyone in Naow's chat press 1 if he constantly goes on about Ret Paladin Copium?
Red Paladin is sick, no?
Bro, there's some major copium going on.
I mean, okay.
Okay, well, what would be the other spec then with the legendary? Let's go Arms Warrior.
Okay. Now that, yeah, I can kind of believe in the copium of two-handed weapons.
Oh, well, so
that
what
is
would be the
kinda
other
some
spec
copium.
then? That would be like two-hander slaps. I guess Frost DK maybe. I don't know. With like a two-handed, like because you played at
Yeah,
distance, right?
maybe.
What about Unholy? Didn't you play Unholy as well, Dorki? And
Yeah.
PTR?
Oh yeah, you did, didn't you?
Oh, dude, they're definitely gonna. Actually, no, that's the real copium. Like speaking of copium, holy fuck, they're gonna buff Unholy DK because it's ranked at C in the tier list. I know the Fury Crafted dude for Unholy said the class is like dog shit. Apparently the Sims are like real bad too. So if they're gonna buff that class is gonna be insane in M+, especially in like MDI situation.
Unholy always like shine in MDI. I feel like it's
Yeah, it's so good in those
crazy.
situations.
Yeah, I can see.
Well, all right then. It was lovely talking with both of you, and I hope we cleared up a lot of
Yep.
questions people might have going into
It's a pleasure.
10.2. Dude, I think we have sushi at home. I'm so excited. I'm so hungry. It's gonna be
Yeah.
gonna be a
Make
banger.
sure your dog hasn't eaten your carpet.
No, I actually took him out and I closed the door. So the carpet intact, all good.
Let's go.
Well, Andy, to you, very much good good luck in the race.
Good
Hope
look.
Yeah, good luck.
Is that,
I hope
is
you
that
take
the,
it.
Good
is
look.
that the Swedish version?
Yeah, good look. Yeah, I hope you take it home for the
Good look.
boys. I'm gonna be
Yeah,
cheering on you.
thanks, man. Appreciate
It's
it.
gonna be exciting. Do you think you will take it? Do you believe in the
Uh,
victory?
I think no matter what, whether or not we'll win or not, I think we'll do way better than last time, like as a guild.
Oh shit.
Whether or not that
Okay.
means we win is like a different question. Obviously, I'd love to believe that we will win, but yeah, I mean, I think we'll do like way better. So unless like Liquid also kind of like matches that, then I think we will beat them this time.
Ooh, I'm excited.
So yeah.
So do you have
that's my
any
view at least.
last question before we leave? How long do you think the race will last this time around? Do you think it's an easy tier again? Do you think it's a
I
harder
think
tier?
it will last longer, but whether or not that's a day longer or more than that, I'm not sure. I think max like maybe 1 or 2 days longer than last time.
Okay. So when did it die? Was it Sunday or Monday it died?
It
Monday,
was
right?
3 days, right? So wasn't it Wednesday, Thursday, Fridays?
No, but you
Wasn't
spent
it?
the first
Wasn't it Sunday? It died.
I know it
think?
was Sunday or Monday. I think it died. I don't remember which day.
Or was it Monday? So
But,
that was
you-
Friday.
Didn't you do like 2 days of splits, like Wednesday,
Yeah,
Thursday, and then
we did
Friday,
2 days, I think.
Saturday, yeah,
Oh, my chat's saying it was Monday. So yeah, maybe we make it to the reset then.
yeah. I mean, the
Um,
issue is if it goes reset, you are really down bad. I know from experience when
On the
NA
first
gets,
day of reset, yeah.
no, but like when NA gets the reset and the reclear, like if the tier is like short or just above reset, it is
Right.
rough. So for
that-
your case, I hope it's like either like 7 days or like 10. So I really hope it's not like 8 or 9, because that is rough if you're in your shoes.
Yeah. No, I agree.
All right, sounds good, boys. Thank you
Alright.
for the conversation.
Yep.